subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
For the mining town, Noah did not intend to go there in the name of free medical examination, because this place is a place under the direct control of Achaku, and there are hundreds of ruffians recruited by the king as supervisors of the miners. A quiet miners' town at night. Mary, Lilith, Alii, and Ajay joined forces. Ajay released dense graphene threads, and soon the entire town was covered with airtight. Lilith releases paralyzing toxin, restricting everyone's movement, including the phone bug hiding inside. Mary is responsible for reviewing everyone for misdeeds. Madara's people are immediately killed. Those who have no major problems are sent back to the temporary underground cave by Alii and handed over to Noah for sealing. It took 2 days to clear out the entire mining town, and more than 536 supervisors, thugs, and managers with serious problems were killed by Mary. And the other side, in Fravan City, Noah, Andy, and others also quickly sealed some single people or people living alone. After Mary finished handling the affairs of the mining town, Noah took the family members and began to fully take over the management of the entire city. To avoid leaking secrets, a giant sea of graphite fog has completely enveloped the entire city. The king's army and some of the royal attendants left behind in the palace were immediately subdued by Noah and Lilith. Those with bad deeds among them were all dealt with, and those with no problems were sealed on the spot. Less than 3 days, the entire city of Fravans was evacuated, and all valuable gold, silver, jewelry, and Baileys were looted by the Noah family. After preliminary counting, in this operation, the Noah family received a total of 83.6 billion belly in cash and gold and silver jewelry worth about 160 billion. This is still the case when a large part of the treasure was taken away by King Freefans III. Otherwise, it could at least be doubled. Chapter 42, searching February 8th, 1505 in the Hyuan calendar. When the four-nation coalition forces rushed across the Freefans border with murderous intent. The Noah family has been away for 5 days with the civilians of Freefans and more than 200 billion in treasure. This incident shocked the world government, which secretly fanned the flames, and even the 5 elders were alarmed. Mary Ajoya, among powers. The 5 elders listened to the report from the person in charge of CP6. Although their faces were expressionless, surprise and thinking could be seen in their eyes. The legal marshal god Topman witchily looked at the others. What do you think? It should have been transferred through some kind of devil fruit ability, but amber disease is not easy to treat. People are looking at the Iron Bucket Kingdom. If they want to treat amber disease, they will most likely go to the Iron Barrel Kingdom. Scientific Defense Marshal God Jagalucius Sardan, Saint analyzed. Agree. Saint Topman witchily, the legal god of war, continued to ask how to characterize the affairs of the kingdom of Freefans. Marcus Saint, the god of environmental martial arts, suggested, on the grounds that there was a big explosion in the mining area and a large amount of amber lead dust was released, which led to the destruction of the kingdom of Fravans and the blockade of the area for 50 years. How about making an announcement like this? Agree. As for those Fravans who escaped secretly, once their location is confirmed, launch a buster call immediately to eliminate them all. Agree. Soon the world government announced a qualitative announcement of the incident in the Kingdom of Freefans through its official newspaper. Although some smart people know that there must be something fishy about this matter, no one dares to openly question the world government's 800 years of accumulated power and control over information channels. Even the Morgans were warned. North Blue, Kingdom of Lubner, the hometown of the great talker Rolando. In a remote coastal villa, Andy and Mi Lai were undergoing treatment nervously. They had been in the temporary ward for 3 days. During this period, Noah first injected about 50 years of vitality into Andy, and then injected a small dose of IQ extract into Andy's body. After 3 days of IQ ingredient stimulation, his body's immune system became extremely active, just like a bat that can resist multiple viruses, and his body temperature climbed to 42 degrees Celsius. If it were a normal person, Maintaining a high body temperature of 42 degrees Celsius for 3 days and 3 nights would have burned him into an idiot. However, the IQ component and the huge vitality support allowed Andy to not only withstand the high body temperature state, but also successfully use the high-speed metabolism and large consumption of vitality to excrete the amber-lead components accumulated in the body. With the first successful case, Andy quickly improved some plans, such as adding nutritional supplements and potassium salt solution, which can enhance the body's self-recovery and allow the lead to be excreted from the body faster. My lie only takes 53 hours to complete the body's detoxification and self-repair. Unfortunately, both of them knew very well that this solution could only be used by a few people because it would take about 50 years of life force to treat one person, which was really too luxurious. With the size of the Free Fans remnants, there is simply no way to popularize them all. And he did not even ask Noah to use this method to treat the 2 children because his medical ethics did not allow him to make such a request. The couple can use this method of treatment to ensure that they can survive. Whether they eat the fruits of the operation or develop other treatment plans, they require continuous efforts by the couple, so they cannot die. But Noah still asked the couple to treat Luo in advance. The reason is very simple. Noah needs Luo to attract the fruits of the operation. As a user with the surgical fruit ability in the original timeline, Luo and the surgical fruit are the result of a mutual choice. And in order to stimulate Luo's desire for the surgical fruit, Noah told Luo that the illness of his sister Lammy and a group of orphan companions required the use of the surgical fruit to be completely cured. Stayed in the kingdom of Lubner for more than half a month. While Luo was learning medical skills from his parents, he was also learning physical skills and domineering skills from Noah. Of course, Noah did not relax his ideological education. He not only taught 5 books of dragon slaying, but also combined it with the cruel reality of the kingdom of Free Fans, allowing Luo to further understand the world and the hopelessness of the celestial dragons and nobles. Inside the Nautilus, Luo was blindfolded and his head was full of bruises. Alii, who was in charge of beating bamboo strips, asked with a smile, "Luo, do you want to take a rest?" "No, I can still persist." Luo shouted stubbornly. "Snap! Ah, you're distracted." At this time, Andy and my lie were not in the Nautilus. They were both assigned to West Cassis Island, where they were responsible for researching IQ grass and other drugs. Noah crossed off another island from the chart. Obviously, this is another island where devil fruit does not exist. More than 2 months passed unknowingly. The turmoil of the Free Fans incident was gradually submerged by the tide of the times. The CP6 agents lurking in the Iron Bucket Kingdom also sat on the bench for more than 2 months. However, these agents did not give up and continued to lurk there. It's noon on this day. In order to avoid a large sea iceberg, the Nautilus changed course and came to the island in front of it. "Brother, there is a small village on the other side of this island." Noah's eyes flickered. "I know there is a devil fruit on this island." Devil fruit. Alii wasn't too surprised because in the past 2 months, they found another devil fruit on a desert island, which was in the form of a sheep fruit of the ordinary animal type. At present, the fruits that the Noah family has but has not eaten include carp fruit, red fox fruit, rattlesnake fruit, pace fruit, bully dog fruit, and sheep fruit, and the animal type accounts for the vast majority. "Are we going to hunt for treasure again?" Luo asked excitedly. "Don't be careless. Go to the island," Noah reminded, then put away the Nautilus and landed with R and Luo. The residents of this small island were on the other side, and Noah was always paying close attention to what was happening around him, so their landing did not attract the attention of the locals. After climbing over mountains and ridges and searching for treasure in the mountains and forests for a day, they did not find the devil fruit. But the 3 of them were very calm about this. The search continued the next day until we were near the edge of the village. In a large peach forest, Luo saw a red heart-shaped fruit, and it was covered with tang grass patterns. These features were obviously the surgical fruit that he had been thinking about. He quickly called Noah and R. When Noah saw the fruit, he knew it was the fruit of surgery. Luo ate this fruit. Luo was a little hesitant. "If I give this fruit to my father, will he be able to master the ability to save people faster?" "Your father is not suitable for this fruit. Don't you think it would be more meaningful to save Lammy yourself? After hearing Noah's persuasion, Luo quickly became determined, picked up the surgery fruit, and ate it. Although he knew that the devil fruit was unpalatable, Luo obviously underestimated its unpalatableness. As soon as he ate the whole fruit, he immediately lay on the ground and retched. Ugh, it tastes so bad. Noah picked a few peaches for Luo and then placed a 500 Pele coin on the tree trunk. The group came and went quietly. Chapter 43: Eavesdropping. After obtaining the fruits of the operation, Noah and his team drove the Nautilus to continue sneaking in North Blue. Due to the existence of the Arctic Circle and the Arctic ice cap, the north of North Blue is almost full of ice and snow, and the climate is similar to that of Drum Island in the Iron Bucket Kingdom. The Nautilus is sneaking, and it was not so smooth because there were too many submarine icebergs or undersea undercurrents in this sea area. After passing through Labuan Island and heading north, there will no longer be countries that are members of the world government. Because the land in the Arctic region is barren, they are basically small countries of fishing and hunting tribes. For example, the more famous Amiskais are a well-known fishing and hunting group in the region. Noah took Luo and Rei to visit several small tribes of Amiskais and then turned to sail southwest again. Half a month later, they arrived at Kayan Island and found Bibo, a fur tribe child who had wandered here, as well as several other orphans, including Pekin and Siaki, who later became the Heart Pirates. Over the past month, Luo has become more and more proficient in the application of surgical fruits. Especially with Noah's guidance, Luo's development of the surgical fruit will be faster and more comprehensive than the original timeline. After all, the concept involved in the fruit of surgery is surgery, or the conceptual thinking of surgical medical technology. At this point, Noah can provide Luo with a lot of reference ideas. For example, in the fields of X-rays, ultrasound, nuclear magnetic resonance, protons, and heavy ions and gamma rays, it would be difficult for Luo, who has not been exposed to these medical technologies, to develop related derivative capabilities. But with Noah's advice, the result would be different. Although Luo's physical strength at this time is not enough to support him to use the derived abilities of X-rays, gamma rays, and proton-heavy ions, the two types of nuclear magnetic resonance and ultrasound, the derived abilities are initially ready for use. In the northern wilderness of Kayan Island, Luo used ultrasonic waves and the newly awakened Haki to quickly avoid Aliai's attack. Even though the surgery fruit has the special spatial ability of the operating room, which allows Luo to gain the ability to move in space within a certain range, he still cannot 100% avoid Aliai's attack. The panting Luo is very aware of his shortcomings. Physical strength is the foundation of the fruit's ability. If the physical strength is not enough, even if the devil fruit's ability is very powerful, it will appear extremely stretched. This can be seen from Ace and Sabo's use of the Xiaoxiao fruit. At the same time, the gap between knowledge and SX is another reason why Luo cannot avoid Ali's attack. Not far away, Bibo, Peijin, Siaki, and others were also practicing physical skills. Noah is setting up a temporary base underground on Kayan Island, using the caves excavated by her these days. Although most of the Noah family's power is in the East China Sea, it does not mean that they will give up the other 3 sea areas. At this time, Noah and Ajay were trying a special device. On the top of the stone mountain above the cave, more than a dozen dead trees grow between the gaps in the stones. If you look carefully, you can find that the surface of these dead trees is densely covered with tiny black crystals. This is the modified graphene crystal modified by Ajay's ability. Its characteristic is that it absorbs the surrounding electromagnetic wave signals and then transmits these received electromagnetic wave signals to the underground cave. Then several specially cultivated phone bugs are used to decipher this information. In fact, in order to cultivate this kind of secret-stealing phone bug that specializes in decoding, the Noah family sacrificed hundreds of phone bugs and also used IQ components and considerable vitality to successfully cultivate more than a dozen secret-stealing phone bugs. The first phone tapping station was set up on West Cassis Island. Kayan Island was the second phone tapping station. As the line was connected, Ajay and several Urin, who joined the Noah family, began an intense test. This kind of secret theft is not done blindly, but requires specific planning and skills. It can be divided into 6 offices: number locking, relationship mapping, VIP classification, specialized tracking, information analysis, and overall coordination. For those ordinary forces phone bug communications, the eavesdropping station will definitely not focus on them. The forces that really need the eavesdropping station to pay close attention to are either the world government, CP organizations, Marines, or regional hegemons, revolutionary armies, and big forces. Pirates, for example, in North Blue, the first batch of forces selected by Noah as his focus targets were the Vinsmoke family, Don Quixote family, and Lieutenant General Marine Crane. As for how to determine the phone numbers of these forces, the answer is keyword monitoring. For example, regarding the Don Quixote family, based on Noah's information, as long as the other party mentioned Dover, Young Master, Don Quixote, Pica, and Diamant during the phone conversation, if you use terms such as T and Torpole, the recorder will initially lock the number, and then continue to pay attention to it for a period of time until the identity of the owner behind it can be determined. Although there are anti-phone bugs in the pirate world, this thing has not been widely used, mainly due to production and strict government control. Moreover, many forces rarely use anti-eavesdropping phone bugs in their daily telephone communications. This gave the Noah family the opportunity to eavesdrop on their phone calls. Sure enough, on the morning of the 4th day, when the Cayenne Island listening station was put into use, a phone bug signal from Marine was eavesdropped. Originally, the recorder didn't notice the problem at first. It was not until the exchange of this phone signal that the whereabouts of Lieutenant General he appeared, as well as the mention of terms such as young master and family, that the recorder paid attention to it. Soon, during the continuous monitoring of these 2 numbers, the phone bug numbers of the entire Don Quixote family were quickly locked down, including even some of the phone bug numbers of North Blue's underground forces. Doflamingo, who was evading the pursuit of Lieutenant General He, didn't know that his phone number was locked. The eavesdropping station recorded some of the valuable intelligence. Noah, who was browsing this information, suddenly discovered a very valuable piece of content. Recording time, July 22nd, 1505 in the High Yuan calendar. Call parties. Doflamingo and Diamante call record. A girl suspected of being a devil fruit user was found in the Angupo Islands. Her ability may be that of the snow fruit. Are they Monet and sugar? Noah took a look at the North Blue map and found that the Angupo Islands were not too far from Cayenne Island, only about 976 kilometers away. Then he recalled some information about Monet and the Sugar sisters. This year is 1505. Monet should be 13 years old, and Sugar is 5 years old. Monet ate the snowy fruit at this time, but there should be no sugar because the childlike fruit has a characteristic. That is, the moment the fruit is eaten, the body's age will be fixed. In the original timeline, Sugar's physical age was 10 years old. In other words, Sugar should have eaten the childlike fruit at the age of 10. Although he did not eat the childlike fruit, Noah did not intend to give up the 2 of them to Doflamingo. Now Doflamingo and his family members are avoiding the pursuit of the crane and have no time to find the 2 Monet sisters. He could just seize the opportunity. Noah quickly ordered Airy and others to set sail. Soon the Nautilus was heading towards the Angupo Islands at full speed. Chapter 44 in the pocket a few days later. On one of the inhabited islands of the Angupo archipelago, Noah and others disguised themselves as businessmen and appeared in a bar in the town. The bartender poured Noah a glass of rum and asked half-jokingly, "This gentleman is a bit unfamiliar. He shouldn't be from our Angupo kingdom, right?" "Ha, good eyesight." Noah casually placed a silver coin on the counter. When the bartender saw this scene, the smile on his face became even brighter, and he calmly accepted the silver coins. "Sir, what news do you need? I heard that there is a famous gin distillery in Angupo. If I need to buy gin from them, what should I prepare?" The bartender shook his head. "Sir, you are late. That winery has been acquired by someone. It seems that the previous owner was killed by pirates." Of course, no one knew about this. He even knew that the winery owner was secretly killed by Diamante in order to annex the winery. "Oh, someone actually bought it? It's really troublesome. But are there many pirates near the Angupo kingdom?" The bartender smiled bitterly. "There have been a lot of pirates in recent years, and there were even 2 small towns that were destroyed by pirates. These damn scum of the ocean are so unscrupulous. Noah complained duplicitously. The bartender also complained. Yes, but these pirates will face retribution sooner or later. Half a month ago, a pirate group was killed by a snow demon on Mackade Island, and they were all frozen into ice sculptures. Snow demon? What is this? I don't know. I just heard from a few passing businessmen that pirate ships were often attacked this year on several islands near Mackade Island, and the killed pirates were turned into ice sculptures. I see. It seems that I have to avoid this island to avoid being attacked by the snow demon. After getting the answer he wanted, Noah quickly left the bar and quickly led people to Mackade Island. At the same time, Diamante also took several peripheral members of the Don Quixote family to secretly search for the so-called snow demon on Mackade Island. Unfortunately, the range of Diamante's knowledge was too small. In addition, the manpower brought over this time was insufficient, and the operation could not be carried out with great fanfare. So the search mission progressed very slowly. When Noah and his party landed on Mackade Island, Diamante had not yet found any trace of the two sisters, Monet and Sugar. However, Noah's extremely large-scale knowledge and color were the last to arrive, and he directly targeted more than a dozen targets. These people were all together. After screening out these people, he further refined them. Based on the gender, age, and fruit abilities of Monet and Sugar, Noah soon locked their specific locations. Less than 10 minutes, in a mountain forest in the northwest of Mackade Island, a girl was cutting venison, and next to her was a little girl of 5 or 6 years old. Noah and several others fell from the sky. "Who are you?" Monet was shocked, and his body tensed up instantly. His hands were already gathering snowflakes in the dark, while protecting his sister behind him. "Are you the snow fruit user?" Noah glanced at the frozen deer, and then looked at the emerald green hair of Monet and Sugar. "Blizzard." Monet took action without hesitation. "You damn pirates! Go to hell!" However, the violent snowstorm, for Noah, who was fully armed with domineering force, was like a breeze blowing on his face, and the ice was instantly shaken away by the domineering force. Monet's pupil shrank, and he quickly picked up his sister and fled deep into the forest. However, the next moment, the two sisters felt that the sky was dark and the earth was dark, as if there was a force pressing on them, causing them to fall to the ground. Even the elemental transformations were unable to fight back. Noah's conqueror's impact subdued both of them at once. However, Noah did not go over immediately. Instead, he turned around and ordered, "Rei Luo, take them back to the Nautilus first." "Yes." "Okay, Brother Noah." Luo instantly moved behind Monet and slapped her back with his palm. Immediately, part of Monet's nerves were anesthetized and his whole vision went dark. Rei picked up the trembling Sugar, opened the wormhole, and left with Luo and the two prisoners. 10 minutes later, in the forest, several figures appeared in front of Noah, but at this time, Noah had changed his clothes to a white suit and a white mask. Diamante was a little surprised when she saw Noah dressed in this outfit. Is it someone from CP? However, the next second, Noah took action directly, and a conqueror's impact stunned the members of the Don Quixote family except Diamante, including the phone bugs they carried, and they were also stunned. At this time, Diamante's face changed drastically. "Conqueror's domineering? Impossible! You are not a CP person." It's a pity that Noah doesn't have the habit of talking nonsense, so he threw away more than a dozen seawater cards. Diamante quickly waved the Western sword and prepared to release various stored weapons. But he never expected that the moment those cards were stabbed by his sword, the seawater sealed inside would burst out instantly. "What? Seawater?" Diamante was shocked, but it was too late to escape. The seawater instantly affected Diamante, and soon he felt the weakness of his body and then fell into a coma. Noah picked up Diamante from the sea, then put it in an iron bucket, and finally sealed it in the card. After doing all this, Noah silenced the members of the Don Quixote family who were present before letting Alii pull him back into the Nautilus. Inside the cabin, Monet, who had woken up, looked at her calf soaked in seawater. She looked very unhappy and looked at her sister Sugar worriedly. Noah looked at the girl in front of him and asked with a smile, "Are you interested in joining my family?" "Join you?" "Ha, you damn pirates!" Monet cursed through gritted teeth. "Who told you that we are pirates?" Monet couldn't react at once. "What? You are not pirates? Our Noah family are serious people. How could we be pirates?" Noah explained with a smile. "Ha, do you invite people like this? I don't think you are good people." Monet immediately mocked, but she didn't see her sister eating grapes not far away. Apparently, Sugar had forgotten other things and was concentrating on eating the grapes and cheese biscuits on the plate. When she heard the sound of eating coming from beside her, she noticed that her sister Sugar was eating. Her heart suddenly sank. When she thought of her sister, Monet had to choose to compromise. "As long as you are willing to take us in, I am willing to work for you, but the premise is that we cannot be forced to do things we don't like. My sister cannot work for you until she reaches adulthood." Noah didn't pay much attention to this. After all, the training system of the Noah family is enough to change many of the two sisters' ideas. At the same time, Noah is also very confident. As long as Monet agrees, he has many ways to win the other's heart. Soon Noah untied the seawater barrel from Monet's calves. As for whether the other party will take the opportunity to destroy the Nautilus nut, as long as Monet is not stupid, he should know that his current location is at the bottom of the sea. Once the structure of the submarine is destroyed, the two sisters will definitely die. Noah and others can leave through Ar's wormhole. This is Noah's confidence. Chapter 45, Reorganization. The captured Diamanti soon became Noah's fourth apostle. Knight of the Sword, Diamanti, Flowing Fruit, plus the three previous apostles. Devil, Pan Button, Exchange Fruit. King of Wands, Big Bear, Steel Fruit. Servant of Wands, Brian, Ocelot Fruit. This made Noah's power even stronger, and with the development of the fruit and the strengthening of his body, he can now not only summon the apostles to help fight and do things, but also borrow the apostles' fruit abilities. Of course, this kind of borrowing has certain limitations. For example, you can only borrow the power of one fruit at a time. During the period of using the apostle's fruit power, the apostle cannot be summoned, and the physical strength he needs to consume will also double. Brian is currently based at Rum Kingdom's training camp. Barton assisted Uncle Joseph in Rum City, the capital of the Rum Kingdom, and managed the entire Rum Kingdom. Big Bear and Diamanti were carried by Noah. Among them, Big Bear's Steel Fruit, as a superhuman-type fruit similar to the slippery fruit, is a good supplement for Noah, whose physical strength is not too strong. Diamanti also cannot be summoned casually. The reason is that the Paper of Life, the core member of the Don Quixote family, is in the hands of Doflamingo. Once Diamanti appears in the form of an apostle, the Paper of Life can sense its whereabouts. Therefore, Diamanti can only be maintained in a card state so that the life paper cannot sense its position. If Noah borrows Diamanti's fruit ability, the Paper of Life will also not be able to sense it. In fact, the fruit ability of the flying fruit is pretty good, and it even has certain spatial abilities such as turning items into cloth state, which is a kind of space compression. Diamanti has only developed some abilities to smash iron balls, iron thorns, and iron cloth, which is really the result of too little reading. With the power of the Don Quixote family, it is not easy to prepare a lot of bombs, gas bombs, incendiary bombs, glass water tanks, etc., and then compress these things into a cloth state, which can completely achieve something similar to the card fruit. Space storage. However, Diamanti did not develop in this direction. Instead, he combined the nondescript fruit ability with swordsmanship. The fruit ability was poorly developed, and the swordsmanship was at the level of an ordinary swordsman. In the end, it was neither above nor below. In Noah's view, the ability to fly fruits has a certain strategic nature. As an auxiliary and long-range attack, it is the positioning of its ability. Swordsmanship and physical skills do not need to be the main force. You only need to ensure that you can escape and avoid the enemy. Attack. As for the steel fruit, Noah's core development direction is in steel experiments and high heat reactions. As a superhuman type ability, the steel fruit itself cannot create steel or manipulate steel outside the body, but it can simulate its own body into steel. The term steel does not only refer to iron, but also includes steel. Steel is an alloy material with iron as the main body. It involves a lot of knowledge and it is really difficult for ordinary people to develop it. For example, the properties of low-carbon steel, medium-carbon steel, and high-carbon steel are different. Among them, high-carbon steel can make springs, which means that the steel fruit in the high-carbon steel state has the ability to realize the spring fruit. Another example is that in the state of pure iron, the high-temperature limit of steel fruit can reach 1,535 degrees Celsius. Before the rockberry is fully awakened, the extreme temperature is only about 1,400 degrees Celsius, which cannot melt the steel fruit at all. Another example is that in the state of a rubidium magnet, the steel fruit can achieve some strong magnetic capabilities and can even generate electricity in the body. There are also stainless steel, silicon steel, high manganese steel, and so on. All in all, the steel fruit not only includes the steel itself, but also the derivative directions of high heat reaction, magnetic field power generation, and specular reflection. This is the power of wisdom. Time flies like an arrow, and time flies like a shuttle. Unknowingly, the new year has arrived again. This time is January 1st, 1506 in the Haiyuan calendar. After wandering around North Blue for half a year, Noah and his team not only strengthened their strength, but also found 3 devil fruits during the journey. Of course, during this period, Noah also captured 2 pirates with devil fruits. In the past half year, North Blue has become even more turbulent. The reason was naturally the disappearance of Diamanti, which made Doflamingo very angry. The other party mobilized the underground forces of the Don Quixote family to search for Diamanti's whereabouts throughout the North Blue and capture the murderer behind Diamanti. In addition, Marine led by Crane is also hunting Doflamingo in North Blue, making the situation of the Don Quixote family even more precarious. However, these things did not affect Noah. After all, Noah was so domineering at this time that his all-round coverage radius had reached 120 kilometers, and his single-directional sensing limit could reach about 600 kilometers. The reason why it could be improved to such an exaggerated level is naturally because Noah combined the ability of the steel fruit to build a rubidium magnet pattern in the body, and the blood flow generates electric current to achieve electromagnetic wave amplification, which can achieve something similar to the thunder fruit. The color enhancement effect of seeing and hearing. With such a wide coverage area, as long as Noah doesn't want to be discovered by others, he can change his route in advance or hide himself to prevent others from discovering his whereabouts. Noah and his team return to the secret base of Rum Kingdom. While celebrating the new year, we also let new members and old members get to know each other. The old members of the family include Noah, Uncle Joseph, Cousin Joshua, Anthony, Tony, Vic, Arajai, Lilith, Lillian, and Mary, a total of 11 people. The new members include Andy, Milai, Luo, and Lamy's family, the fur white bears Bibo, Pekin, and Siaki, as well as the sisters Monet and Sugar, a total of 9 people. As for the apostles such as Barton and Brian, they can only be regarded as part of Noah and do not belong to the category of complete human beings. Those peripheral members are also not qualified to participate in this annual meeting. After all, the core level of the Noah family involves too many secrets and is not suitable for these people to know. This is also to protect them. Finally, there are the absorbed feathermen, 388 people in total, the training camp Boy Scouts, 321 people in total, and the people just selected from the Free Fans remnants, 261 people in total. These people actually belong to the Noah family. Mid-level members. Noah looked at the family members gathered together and picked up the grape juice. Everyone, today is hard one for the family. I hope we can all witness the coming of a new era. Cheers! Cheers! Everyone cheered happily. After drinking the grape juice, Noah continued with a smile. Nowadays, the family is getting bigger and bigger, and I am going to conduct a comprehensive combing of the family. Uncle Joseph also echoed. Noah is right. The family really needs to be readjusted now. My idea is this. First, the family should set up a round table meeting and select 7 people to be the rotating elders of the round table meeting to assist me in handling affairs. The 7 elders manage 7 departments respectively. These 7 departments are the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Ministry of Military Affairs, the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Supervision, the Ministry of Science and Education, the Ministry of Industry, and the Ministry of Resources. Everyone listened attentively. I appointed Lilith to be in charge of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and responsible for the family's internal affairs management. Joshua is the head of the military department, and Anthony is the chief of staff, responsible for managing the family's armed forces and military construction. Uncle Joseph is the head of the commercial department, responsible for the family's commercial business and also the management of the rum kingdom. Mary is the head of the inspection department, and Tomini, as the deputy, is responsible for internal supervision and is also responsible for the intelligence work of the winery. The Ministry of Science and Education is temporarily in charge of my apostle Brian. The Department of Industry is in charge of Ajay, and the Department of Resources is in charge of Ale. Noah paused for a while and continued. At the same time, we need to divide the family members into 5 levels: Patriarch, Elder, Cadre, Elite, and Newcomer. Chapter 46 Super Combat Power. In addition to Uncle Joseph, Joshua, Lilith, Mary, R, and Ajay, who became elders. Tomini, Anthony, Vic, and Lillian became cadre members. Andy, Luo, Mai, Monet, Pei Jean, and Siaki became elite members. As for Sugar, Lammy, and Bebo, they can only become newcomers because they are too young. Noah previously collected 3 more devil fruits from North Blue, namely the childlike fruit, the art fruit, and the crow fruit. Among them, the art fruit was given to Tomini, who had always hoped to obtain a gorgeous devil fruit ability. As soon as Noah got the fruit, he asked to give it to him. Although Noah feels that the development of art fruit is a bit difficult, the idea of developing this fruit is very strange and requires people with artistic abilities and even more imagination. Since Tomini wants to eat, Noah will naturally not object. The remaining 2 fruits, the childlike fruit, were intended for Granu, but at this time Granu was too young. Once he ate the childlike fruit, his body's age would be fixed, so he planned to wait until Granu was about 17 years old, and then give him the childlike fruit. Give her this fruit. As for the animal-type crow fruit, like many animal-type fruits obtained before, it was temporarily sealed in the card by Noah and could be rewarded to some contributing family members in the future. With the family reorganization completed, the new year has passed. Inside the biology laboratory on West Cassis Island, Andy and Luo looked at the blonde old man who was soaked in the sea water, with a trace of surprise and fear on their faces. "Don't worry, he has been controlled by me. Let's get started now." Noah spoke while focusing on the golden lion. After more than half a year of training, Luo has initially mastered the ability of the surgical fruit. The part of Free Fan survivors that was released before was cured by Luo through the ability of the surgical fruit. Now Noah finally plans to take action on the golden lion. Luo concentrated his concentration, instantly opened up the operating room area, cut the unconscious golden lion's head into 8 pieces, and then cleaned out the boat rotor embedded in the head bit by bit. Andy, on the other hand, was paying attention to the status of the body monitoring equipment to prevent the golden lion from dying suddenly. Time passed minute by minute. The ship in the golden lion's head was also being cleared away little by little, until the last fragment stuck in the brain was removed. With quick eyesight and quick hands, Luo raised his knife and quickly cut off the golden lion's frontal lobe. After removing the prefrontal lobe, Luo nodded to Noah. "Proceed as planned." "I understand," Noah's family. Luo immediately injected the improved IQ extract into the golden lion, plus a special life serum, which allowed the golden lion's body to recover quickly. The next step is the highlight, because Luo needs to repair the nerves and blood vessels in the golden lion's brain that were damaged by the ship to avoid leaving hidden dangers. The operation lasted more than 3 hours. Fortunately, there is IQ extract and life serum. Otherwise, even if the golden lion is successfully transformed, its strength will be greatly reduced. After completing the surgical transformation, the golden lion not only removed the boat weight on the top of his head, but also eliminated all the hidden injuries and deficiencies in the body, and also attached a pair of healthy feet. Even without emotion and conquerors, the golden lion is still domineering and showy at this time. Noah quickly threw the Emperor from the Major Arcana deck to the sleeping golden lion. A golden cocoon of light surrounds the golden lion. Soon a brand new apostle appeared in front of Noah. "Emperor, Shiki, Piao Piao fruit. When Shiki opened his eyes, he had sorted out the remaining memories of the Golden Lion, and coupled with the memory given by Noah, he already understood his identity. Shiki, who was kneeling on one knee, looked at Noah with fanatical eyes. "My lord, your loyal subordinate Shiki sends my regards. Arise, my apostle." Noah's conquerors climbed further. With Shiki as an apostle, this means that Noah's strength has officially entered the general level. Although Apostle Shiki lost his conquerors, his weapon color and knowledge color were restored, and his physical strength and vitality were restored to their peak. Coupled with the ability of the Piao Piao fruit and the strength of the dual swordsman swordmaster, his strength that's the general level. Of course, due to the loss of Conqueror's Haki, it is difficult for Apostle Shiki to return to his true peak. He has no way to suppress the general and can only be compared with him. Even so, Shiki's strength is still terrifyingly strong, and the strategic significance of the Piao Piao fruit is extraordinary. At this time, the Noah family was truly invincible. There are Shiki's fluttering fruit, Diamante's fluttering fruit, and Ars cave fruit, which allow the family to cover the whole world in terms of rapid transfer and material transportation. The Noah family will also be protected from future sea level rise crises. The more important thing is to obtain safe access to various sky islands. For example, the thunder fruit that Noah has always been thinking about is on the sky island Burka. Originally, he planned to go to the top of West Blue, go to Sky Island from there, and then look for Burka. Now it doesn't have to be so troublesome. And with the ability to flutter fruits, the Noah family does not need to worry about the Poseidon species in the windless zone. They can enter the Grand Line Paradise directly from the East China Sea, or enter the Grand Line New World from North Blue. After Noah encouraged Luo and Andy, he took Shiki, R, and Tamani to leave Circassus Island. Using the Piao Piao fruit to control the Nautilus, it crossed the windless zone from the East China Sea and entered the Paradise section of the Grand Line. The Nautilus, which was hidden high in the sky, was camouflaged by Tamani using the fruit's ability. Even the Morgans, who had eyes all over the world, had no way of discovering its whereabouts. After entering the Grand Route Paradise, Noah and his party, who had already collected the permanent pointer to Gaia Island, did not hesitate and headed straight for Gaia Island. According to Noah's analysis, Enel most likely did not eat the thunder fruit at this time, because according to the description of the original timeline, Enel destroyed his hometown Burka around 1514, and then led his men to occupy Angel Island. With Enel's character, if he gets the thunder fruit, he will definitely not be able to endure it for too long, and will destroy Burka in about a year or two at most. In other words, the time point when Enel obtained the thunder fruit would not be earlier than 1512 at the earliest. It was only the beginning of 1506, and it had been at least 6 years since the other party ate the thunder fruit. This gave Noah the opportunity to get there first. 3 days later, high altitude near Gaia Island. Through seeing and hearing, Noah has sensed the huge, cumulus emperor clouds over Gaia Island, as well as the islands and creatures above. Under the influence of the Piao Piao fruit, the Nautilus quickly rose upwards and soon broke through the sea clouds and the emperor cumulus. Without taking the Nautilus, ordinary Esper users would not be able to break through the imperial cumulus cloud, because this cloud contains the composition of sea tower stone, which can cause Esper users to lose their power. 7,000 meters above the White Sea, an invisible silhouette suddenly rushed out of the sea of clouds. The surrounding Kukai beasts were also deterred by an invisible aura and quickly fled the nearby White Sea. The Nautilus had removed its artistic disguise, revealing its silver-gray steel shell. However, the Nautilus did not stop, but continued to float along the cloud flow towards the gate of heaven. Chapter 47, I Have a Dream, Angel Island. Noah and Tamani, who got off the Nautilus, and a dozen accompanying feathered air cavalry soldiers, walked on the lovely avenue. Although the surrounding sky island people looked at Noah and his group curiously, they did not show much hostility. On the contrary, there were several shop owners who were selling Sky Island specialties to everyone. Noah picked up a hot shell and observed it carefully. "Brother, these shells are really interesting." Tamani also held several empty island shells with different functions and stroked them curiously. Right now, at the end of the street not far away, A group of Skylander soldiers and a skinny old man walked towards the crowd. Noah actually knew the other party's movements a long time ago, but in the face of absolute power, the Sky Islanders' movements were meaningless. The current god of Sky Island, Gonfuel, came not far from Noah and asked tentatively, "Guest from King High, I wonder how you arrived at Sky Island? Are you the god of Sky Island?" "Bold!" a priest shouted angrily. However, Noah did not choose to calm down the matter, but directly released Conqueror's domineering power. The terrifying yet relatively restrained Conqueror's domineering force instantly made the surrounding Sky Islanders look horrified, especially Gonfor. His face became even more panicked, and his posture immediately lowered. "My lord, it was our fault just now. Please forgive us for our offense." Noah smiled and shook his head. "You should have seen Conqueror's domineering aura, which is the kind of aura that Roger has." "Roger? Do you know Roger?" Gonfor asked quickly. Noah glanced at the old man. "Who on the sea doesn't know Roger now? It's a pity that he is now a big pirate with a lot of crimes." "Forget it. There is no need to discuss a dead man." "Big pirate? Dead man? Did Roger pass away?" Gonfor looked a little complicated. He was executed by the world government 8 years ago, but he also joined the world government before he died. Noah put down the empty island shell in his hand and continued. "Now let's get down to business." Gonfu suddenly became a little nervous. "Sir, our Sky Island is very barren, and there are no treasures that you King High people like. If you need it, I can give you some Sky Island shells as a gift." "Really? There are a lot of things on your God's Island," Noah reminded with a smile. In an instant, Gonfor broke out in a cold sweat. "Sir, there is indeed some gold on the Island of Gods. I can give that gold to you. I hope you can forgive us." "Haha, you are very aware of current affairs, but I not only want gold, I also want the entire Sky Island. Are you willing to abdicate and make way for someone worthy of your position?" "What?" Gonfor was naturally reluctant in his heart, but he did not dare to show it at this time. After all, Noah had put too much pressure on him just now, so he hurriedly complained. "Sir, our Sky Island is very barren and cannot bring you any benefits." "Who said that rule must be for benefits?" Noah did not intend to exploit the people of Kongdao at all. His purpose was to establish a unified country, and Kongdao could not be an exception. Facing Noah's strength, Gonfor was unwilling. But in order to avoid angering Noah, he finally chose to surrender, just like he later faced the invincible Enel. Soon Angel Island, including the Sky Islanders living on God's Island, a total of 3,259 people, were gathered together. On a temporary high platform, Noah looked at the more than 3,000 Sky Islanders in the small square, and he opened his hands. "Dear Sky Island residents, hello. I am your new god Noah. From today on, we are a family. You will all become citizens of the Kingdom of the Dawn. Our land of Dawn is a country of equality, freedom, fairness, and harmony. It is also a country that strives for self-improvement and is not afraid of power. I have a dream. I hope that one day, everyone can live under the sun. I have a dream. I hope that one day, all intelligent races, whether ordinary people, feathered people, Skylanders, or fish people, can coexist peacefully. I have a dream. I hope that one day, the Sky Island people can have their own land, the fish people can bathe in the sun, and humans can sail freely on the sea. I have a dream. I hope that one day, children will not have to live on the streets and can go to school. Young people can realize their ambitions and dreams, and old people can spend their old age in peace and reminisce about their youth under the sunset." Noah's impassioned speech and his powerful wave made many Sky Islanders even feel a little excited. "I will use my life to practice my beliefs and dreams." As soon as he finished speaking, a desert island about the same size as God's Island fell from the sky and slowly landed next to Angel Island. "My family, from today on, you will live on this land." The residents of Angel Island suddenly became excited. "Really? Great, so many base. God Noah! God Noah! Long live!" Gonfor on the side smiled bitterly in his heart. He did not expect that Noah would give away a soil island when he made a move. "You must know that for the Sky Islanders, gold is not as valuable as iron, and mud is the treasure of the Sky Islanders." Noah, who had just taken office, immediately gained the admiration of many Sky Islanders. After all, the former Sky Island god had very strict control over the soil on the god's island, and even ordinary Sky Islanders were not allowed to enter. Now, there was a judgment between Noah and the previous gods. After taking down all the Sky Islanders on Angel Island, Noah immediately transferred the feathered people who had been placed on West Cassis Island before. More than 2,000 feathered people joined in, plus the priest army that annexed the original Angel Island. Let the manpower on Sky Island become relatively sufficient. Noah set up the Sky Islands in this area as the Paradise Sky Governor's District and placed 3 desert islands near Angel Island. One of the desert islands was the Lion Island that was the former Golden Lion's base camp. The Paradise Sky Governor's Mansion was established on Lion Island, which has jurisdiction over 5 Sky Islands: Lion Island, Angel Island, Feather Island, Field Island, and Shangaya Island, Island of the Gods. Regarding the previous location of the temple, the so-called Island of Gods, Noah directly renamed it Shangaya Island. He planned to use this island to resettle the Sandians after conquering the Sandians. After all, this place was originally the ancestral land of the Sandians. In fact, for the mutation near Angel Island, the Sandians, who have been trying to regain their ancestral land, have discovered the new Sky Islands that suddenly appeared around Angel Island. It was just that they didn't understand the specific situation for a while, so the Sandians didn't dare to act rashly. But even if they don't move, Noah will soon take the initiative to find them. After all, Noah will not allow the Sandians to continue to harass, which is not conducive to the management and stability of the Paradise Sky Governor's Mansion. Other side, after the Feather Tribe evacuated the settlement area on West Cassis Island, Luo brought some of the Free Fans remnants to take over. There are currently more than 3,000 Frevan survivors placed on West Cassis Island, and they have all been treated for the lead disease one after another. For these people, the lead disease can be cured and they can accept leaving their hometown. As for the money being taken away, they have no objection to it. After all, the internal currency of West Cassis Island is Don Yuan, and they have no way to trade with the outside world, so Bailey naturally has no value. Chapter 48: Sandians northwest of Angel Island, about 2 kilometers in the Sea of Clouds. 3 Sandian warriors covered in artificial clouds were carefully observing not far away. Suddenly, the 3 of them saw hundreds of air cavalry and a large wooden boat approaching rapidly in their direction. "No, we've been discovered. Let's go." Lockie, who was still a little green, changed his face. Mantis Kamachili and Braham reacted immediately. However, a voice sounded behind the 3 of them. "Good morning, gentlemen and ladies." Tamani appeared behind a few people with a smile. Mantis immediately waved the burning sword, but the next second, his burning sword only split a phantom, and Tamani's body disappeared with the wind. Visual Arpalet. In an instant, dozens of Tamani appeared around a few people. Explosive burning slash. As if facing a formidable enemy, the Mantis launched an indiscriminate sweep in all directions. Visual art: the upside-down corridor. In an instant, the surrounding environment seemed to be turned upside down. The colorful Madara Mangeki stairs enveloped the 3 people from all directions. Mantis, Lockie, and Braham are back-to-back. Soon, however, they felt dizzy, surrounded by the Mangeki stairs, with intense hypnosis and visual disruption effects. At this time, they had fallen into an illusion and had no way to escape. The next moment, the surrounding Mangeki stairs turned into countless petals and scattered, but Lockie, Mantis, and Braham found that their hands and feet had been shackled. When did it happen? Lockie was very surprised. Tamani smiled and strolled out of the void. "The moment you hear my voice." But the praying Mantis, who had just woken up from a dream, discovered a key point. "Without wings, you are not an islander. Tani, have you had enough fun? Bring them up." After hearing Noah's reminder, Tani lifted the 3 of them up and moonwalked back to the deck of the wooden ship. Mantis saw Noah basking in the sun on the deck, but his face was very solemn, because he felt a terrifying aura from Noah. Noah glanced at the other person and had no intention of talking to him. The wooden boats and air cavalry troops quickly advanced northwest. It spans about 37 kilometers of the White Sea. Noah and his party came to a piece of white sea that looked ordinary. But soon, a large group of Sandia people rushed out of the nearby Bye-Bye Sea, including Weepa, who had just become a great warrior and the chief of the Sandia tribe. Noah stood on the deck and looked at the Sandians who were surrounding him. "This is Yunin village." Seeing Mantis, Lockie, and others tied up on the deck, Weepa couldn't suppress his inner anger and rushed towards Noah with the weapons made by Kong Dao Bei. "King Hai people, hand over Mantis and the others. Don't overestimate your own capabilities." The next moment, a violent conqueror's domineering impact hit all Sandians. Weepa, who was the first to bear the brunt, looked like pig liver. Even though he gritted his teeth, he was still suppressed and unable to move. The other Sandians fell into one another, looking at the figure on the deck with horrified eyes. The aging chief immediately stood up and said, "Sir, we did not mean to offend you. Please forgive us for our rudeness." "Okay, I don't want to hear your so-called history. I'll just bring you a brand new future. I don't know if you are willing to accept it," Noah asked with a half-smile. The chief and Weepa, who were brought to the deck, had a look of surprise on their faces when they heard Noah's words. "My lord, I wonder what you plan to do with us?" the chief asked cautiously. "I have brought Angel Island and God's Island under the rule of the Kingdom of Dawn. If you are willing to join and abide by the rules of the Kingdom of Dawn, I can allow you to live in the Island of God." "Sir, do you really allow us to live on the Island of Gods?" The chief was surprised and happy. "Do I need to deceive you? Why would I do this if I'm going to deal with you?" The chief reacted immediately. Indeed, with the current situation, if Noah really wants to deal with the Sandians, he can just kill them directly. There is no need to play any conspiracy at all. "Sir, I am willing to lead the Sandians to join the Kingdom of Dawn." The chief immediately knelt down on one knee and expressed his loyalty to Noah. "Get up! From now on we are a family, and the grudges between you and the Sky Islanders are over." Although Weepa and other young Sandia were unwilling to do so, the chief accepted this reality. After all, they had been fighting against the Skylanders for 400 years and were already tired. Soon, with the cooperation of the chief, 273 Sandians from the entire Sandia tribe were gathered together. And then Noah released several large transport ships to bring all these people back to Gaia Island. When the transport ship arrived at the shore of Upper Gaia Island, the chiefs and all the Sandians who set foot on this land were in tears. But soon an uninvited guest arrived. A huge python emerged from the sea of clouds. Noah's conquerors condensed instantly, as if the pressure of the earth was shattering, directly suppressing Nolan, the Lord of the Sky, trembling. "I know you understand. From now on, you will be the guardian of this empty island. Are you willing?" Nolan, the Lord of the Sky, has already felt the chill in Noah's words, as if he would tear him into pieces if he disagreed, and he was so frightened that he nodded quickly. "Go down and play by yourself. Don't hurt anyone in the future." Nolan immediately ran into the sea of clouds, as if he had been granted amnesty. The chief looked at the giant snake leaving, with a hint of reminiscence on his face. It turned out to be the Lord of the Sky. Lord Noah is really powerful. Noah did not chat with them, but led a group of people to the Shantora ruins. Then he took down the golden clock and the historical texts that were topped by huge vines. The golden bell. It turned out to be a golden bell. The chief touched the golden bell very excitedly, and then looked at the black boulder. "This is what our ancestors have always guarded." Noah laughed. "Ha, you should be lucky that you were washed up on the island by the sky current. Otherwise, you would have been destroyed long ago." "What? Why?" Weep was a little confused. "Do you know what this thing is?" "This is a historical text and a taboo of the world government. If you are still down on Gaia Island, sooner or later you will be targeted by the world government and then completely destroyed by it." Then Noah reminded again. "The other Rolando has an agreement with your ancestors, etc. You'd better not get confused." The chief felt a little uncomfortable, but he was still very restrained. "Lord Noah, although we agreed to join the Kingdom of Dawn, Rolando's agreement is related to the promise of our ancestors, and we cannot break it. Let's read this book before we talk." Noah handed over a copy of the Big Talker. The chief was a little confused, but he still took it. When he saw the contents of the book, A hint of anger appeared on his face. Our benefactor has been slandered as a liar. Noah shook his head, really worried about the IQ of these people. You are really honest people. You are still grateful after being sold. Lord Noah, what do you mean? The chief frowned. Rolando exposed the fact that there was gold on Gaia Island. Later, the expedition fleet of the Kingdom of Lubnar came to Gaia Island based on Rolando's description, but did not find any gold on it. Then he was executed by the king. Don't you know? Did you find anything wrong in this matter? The chief thought carefully, and suddenly he broke into a cold sweat. It seems that you have already realized that if Shantora had not been washed up on the Sky Island at that time, your fate would have been to be attacked by the expedition fleet of the Lubnar Kingdom, and you might even have been destroyed. How could this happen? The chief felt extremely uncomfortable for a moment. The Sandians have been waiting for the agreement for 400 years, but there are such hidden consequences behind it. The other Sandians also looked uncomfortable. Chapter 49 Burka. After Noah's awakening, the Sandians finally got to know Rolando again. Although the other party helped solve the tree plague of the Shandia tribe at the time, he later made the whole world aware of the large amount of gold in Shantora. If the soaring sea currents hadn't washed Shantara onto the Sky Island, the Sandians would have most likely perished. At this time, the Sandians also became indifferent to the so-called agreement and gave up the idea of ringing the golden bell. As for the older historical text, the Sandians also gave it to Noah. This kind of thing is really too dangerous. Once discovered by the world government, even on an empty island, the other party will find ways to take it away. Block history text taken away. After settling the Sandia people, Noah arranged the Sandia chief, Gonfor, and the Feathered Village chief to serve as consultants in the governor's mansion on Lion Island to assist Noah in managing the Paradise Sky Governor's District. Get it all done. Noah once again took Shiki and Art to the direction of Burka, the empty island, while Tamani, as the temporary governor, stayed to sit in the governor's mansion of Lion Island. Burka is on the south side of Angel Island, and the distance between the two islands is about 322 kilometers. The Nautilus moved at full speed toward Burka. It only took a dozen hours to see the outline of Burka. The Sky Island of Burka is much smaller than Angel Island, with a population of less than 1,500 people. This Sky Island is very barren. There is no soaring current in the waters of Gaia Island below it, but a windless zone close to South Blue. When the Burkas saw the Nautilus, they immediately surrounded it. Noah is a direct conqueror's blast. Burka's god and priest troops were instantly pressed to the ground by the conquerors, and they paid the price for their greed. Looking at the shivering Burka people, the wings of these Burka people are obviously larger than the wings of the Sky Islanders on Angel Island. Ariai, go and bring Mary here. Okay, brother. Alii opened the wormhole and disappeared on the deck. After a while, the wormhole opened again. Ar appeared in front of him with Mary. Mary, I leave their review to you. Mary nodded helplessly. It's so troublesome. There are more than 1,000 people. Soon the Noah family took control of the entire Burka and began to comprehensively transform the entire Burka. And of course, there's the search for the thunder fruit hidden in Burka. Noah did not find the thunder fruit in the Burka temple, but found many technological drawings left by the ancestors of the Burka people, the Moon people, including the spacecraft design drawing called Ark Proverbs. Noah attached great importance to this drawing. Although the power of Ark's Proverbs requires a huge amount of electricity, only the thunder fruit can maximize its function. But this does not mean that the Noah family cannot use it, because Ajay has further developed the graphite fruit and has now developed a graphene battery, which has a very strong upper limit of energy storage per unit. If you don't build a large Ark of Proverbs, but a medium-sized one, then using graphene batteries, wind turbines, and airbags, you can basically achieve long-distance air flight. This is more comprehensive than a single Ark motto, and safer than a buoyant wooden boat floating on floating fruits. After all, the floating of the Pia fruit is the effect of the fruit's ability. Once Shiki has an accident, these floating wooden boats will be directly destroyed. Therefore, the large-scale production of medium-sized Ark Proverbs as the core transportation channel for the family to control the Sky Island is something that must be taken seriously. 3 days later, Noah was in the temple. looking at Enel, who looked unruly. Enel has been very unconvinced since he was captured by the air cavalry the day before yesterday. For the 23-year-old Enel, his three views have almost been fixed. If it weren't for the fact that the other person had not done any evil at this time, and that Burka was also the one being bullied, Noah would have killed him with a knife. He looked at Mary. Give him a chance and send him to a training camp to be reborn. If he still refuses to change his ways, then send him to be reincarnated. Enel was shocked when he heard Noah's words. Mary nodded and then reported on the review work of the past few days. Brother Noah, all the evil people among the Burka people have been eliminated. A total of 28 people. All of them have been executed. Noah looked through the review report and found that Burka's god was also among those being purged, which didn't surprise him. After all, the atmosphere in Burka is to be hostile to people from other places, especially people without wings. Without the leading role of the Burka god, other Burka people would certainly not behave so blatantly. During Mary's review, this Burka god not only oppressed those without wings, but also expelled those Burkas over 50 years old on the grounds of limited resources. This policy has been implemented for more than 30 years. In fact, although Burka is poor, it is not unable to support dozens of elderly people. However, as the ruler of God, he definitely needs to enjoy it, so he can only obtain resources from other Burka people. This is reality. For killing these people, Noah had no emotion or pity in his heart. Mary left the temple carrying Enel. Ali, who was in charge of the search, walked into the temple with a hint of embarrassment. Brother Noah, we haven't found the thunder fruit these days. Isn't it Burka? Noah thought about it, and suddenly he remembered something. Go and investigate the area where Burka performed the flowing cloud punishment, and focus on searching this area. The execution area of Lyoyun's punishment? I'll go there right away. The reason why Noah thinks that the thunder fruit is in that area is because of Enel's unwelcome status in Burka. The only area where Enel can obtain the thunder fruit is Burka and the surrounding White Sea. Since no thunder fruit was found around Burka, the place where Enel later obtained the thunder fruit was most likely the area where he was executed as a floating cloud. 2 days later, Arai appeared in the temple carrying a small box. Brother Noah, the thunder fruit is indeed in the execution area of Lyoyun punishment. I found a dilapidated sailboat there that was 200 years ago. The thunder fruit is in the dark layer on the ship. Noah opened the small box and looked at the golden thunder fruit with a hint of joy on his face. Thunder fruit, a Logia fruit, is among the most powerful among Logia. It has super speed similar to the sparkling fruit and has better flexibility than the sparkling fruit, terrifying attack power, and super assistance. If Enel in the original timeline didn't know how to be armed and domineering, and didn't pay attention to physical training, his strength would definitely not be like that. As for Enel being defeated by Wang Lufei, this is actually the halo of the protagonist. Without armament haki and wisdom haki, Wang Luffy would not be able to attack Enel even if he was immune to lightning and heat. After all, Enel has super strong domineering power and can also transform into elements. Thunder and lightning are not restrained by water like the rustling fruit, so he is basically invincible. Wang Lufei's ability to defeat Enel is purely due to the aura of the protagonist. Chapter 50 Powerful. After finding the thunder fruit, Noah did not store the fruit. After all, the fruit was too important. Noah asked Ar to bring Joshua to the empty island. Soon Eri took Joshua through the wormhole to the Burka temple. Brother, what's the matter? Of course it's a good thing. Noah handed over the thunder fruit. This is the thunder fruit. You can eat it. This is the thunder fruit? Joshua looked at the golden fruit in the small box with a hint of surprise on his face. Since among the core members of the family, except for Vic, a dedicated taijutsu practitioner, everyone else had already eaten the devil fruit, so Joshua did not push it around and directly picked up the thunder fruit. Brother, thank you. Then, Joshua bit off a large piece of pulp, and his expression suddenly became extremely ferocious, as if his soul was about to leave his body. However, he still suppressed his nausea and ate the remaining pulp one bite at a time. Noah had already taken out a large bottle of watermelon juice that Joshua liked to drink from the card. Take a sip of watermelon juice and take it slow. Thanks, brother. Joshua lifted the big bottle and drank tons and tons of watermelon juice. After drinking more than 10 liters of watermelon juice, he took a long breath. I'm alive again. Try your ability, Noah reminded. Okay. Joshua closed his eyes and concentrated. Soon, dense electric current was flowing on the surface of his body, and then his palms began to turn into blue-purple electric light. Sizzling, a scene like the chorus of Chidori resounded inside the temple. From this moment on, the power of the thunder fruit began to appear. After 300 years, the thunder and lightning of the thunder fruit will finally ring through the world again. Noah released a large amount of iron sand from the card. Joshua has long seen Noah's development ideas for various devil fruits. This development idea, together with the devil fruit illustrations, was compiled by Noah into the Book of Devils. In addition, Joshua's strength at this time was close to that of the Brigadier General of Marine Headquarters. After obtaining the thunder fruit, his strength instantly skyrocketed. Electromagnetism, magnetron. The several tons of iron sand in the temple, attracted by the electromagnetic force, quickly wrapped around Joshua and soon wrapped him into a black cocoon. Lay metallurgy. The electric current turned into high heat, instantly melting part of the iron sand. Magnet shaping. High-frequency shock sword. Electromagnetic gun. Magnetic levitation. Magnetic field induction. Thor mode. Plasma cannon. Forced magnetization. High-heat degaussing. Magnetic shield. Electromagnetic mutual interaction. It was too powerful. The thunder fruit ability that Joshua showed at this time. If he hadn't intentionally controlled it, it would have been easy to destroy Burka. To a certain extent, the thunder fruit is the upper level of the magnetic fruit. It is naturally capable of restraining Paramecia's magnetic fruit. The high-temperature demagnetization alone made the magnetic fruit unable to fight back. What's the limit of what you can see and hear? Joshua sensed it carefully for a moment. It covers about 200 kilometers in all directions and about 1,000 kilometers in one direction. Not bad, it's almost the same as me. Noah was very satisfied. With the thunder fruit and his original foundation, Joshua is now comparable to the elite lieutenant generals of Marine Headquarters and will soon reach the level of general. At this time, the Noah family has become very powerful. With the weird Paramecia, 3 Logias, and a lot of middle-level members, it is not impossible that the family's overall strength will reach the strength of Marine Headquarters in the future. Lillian's burning fruit can compete with Sakaski's rock fruit, and its potential is even more powerful. Joshua's thunder fruit can compete with Porosalino's sparkling fruit. The potential of the thunder fruit is slightly higher than that of the sparkling fruit. Monet's snowy fruit can compete with Kazan's frozen fruit, but the potential of the snowy fruit is still obviously not as good as the frozen fruit. Fortunately, Noah can strengthen Monet's ability development through scientific guidance. The temperature of snow fruit is definitely not comparable to that of frozen fruit, but this does not mean that snow fruit has no other ways to increase its strength. Because conceptually, snow is a state, not a substance. In other words, snow can be formed from water or other substances. For example, oxygen snow, hydrogen snow, nitrogen snow, carbon dioxide snow, etc. This is the core development route of shue fruit. Comparing low temperature with frozen fruit is just using your own weaknesses to compete with the opponent's strengths. There is no possibility of victory at all. However, various snow substances in a different way can improve the strength and potential of snow fruits to a certain extent. For example, oxygen snow allows Monet to turn the oxygen in a confined space into a snowflake state in an instant, causing local hypoxia. This is almost a crushing blow to opponents other than Logia. At the same time, oxygen snow can produce pure oxygen gas, which can also play a huge role in treating and aggravating combustion. Carbon dioxide snow can create artificial rainfall in the clouds and can also poison enemies. All in all, as long as your thinking does not slip, there are always more solutions than difficulties. After Joshua tried some ability applications with Burka, he returned to the Rum Kingdom to practice secretly. Noah transferred Monet from the temporary headquarters of the Rum Kingdom and replaced Tamani as the temporary head of the Paradise Sky Governor's region. After all, The deterrent effect of Shueshua fruit on Sky Island is more powerful. Tamani's artistic fruit is not suitable for frontal combat. He is now the deputy director of the supervision department and is responsible for the intelligence work of the winery. The artistic fruit has a good application direction in intelligence. At the same time, Noah used the power of the Piao Piao fruit to move all the Burka people on Burka Sky Island to Field Island next to Angel Island. As for Burka, he did not give up completely because this place is one of the nodes of Sky Island's Western Sky route, and it is also the only place to go from Angel Island to the top of the Western Sky. There is no development potential here, but it serves as an observation station and outpost. But there is no problem. Noah asked Monet to arrange for a small team of Sky Cavalry, 10 people, to be stationed here in Burka to prevent other Sky Islanders from entering Angel Island directly. This watch team will rotate every other month. After Noah returned to Lion Island, he replanned 5 empty islands, and at the same time strengthened the monitoring of Gaia Island, especially during the time when the soaring currents broke out every month, to prevent anyone from sneaking in. Therefore, it is very necessary to set up several fixed outposts in the White Sea area below. Noah left all these matters to Monet, Chief Care, Gonfor, and Urin Village Chief Usha to handle. Noah himself took Shiki, Weepa, and others secretly to the Sea of Paradise, the Great Route. Their first stop was Gaia Island below. In the dead of night, Noah and his party descended from the sky and appeared not far from the Magic Valley town on Gaia Island. This is the first time that the Noah family has officially entered the Grand Line. Chapter 51, it takes no effort at all the next day. Early morning, Noah and his team, who had changed their appearance, appeared in the Cherry Bar in Magic Valley Town. Noah picked up a cherry pie and took a bite. The taste was just so, not too unpleasant and not too surprising. I brought a copy of today's newspaper. Boss, Kaido and Charlotte Linlin have reached the top. Noah took a sip of lemonade. Oh. It's expected. Are there any other interesting things? Marine Admiral Sengoku has been confirmed as the new Marine Fleet Admiral and will officially take over in 1510. 1510? Noah murmured and took another sip of lemonade. Bang! Suddenly the door of the bar was violently opened. A few arrogant pirates walked in with figure-footed steps. We, the Raptor Pirates, own this place. Noah glanced at the other person. The person speaking was the first mate of the Raptor Pirates, Kate, and standing behind him was the captain of the Raptor Pirates, Velociraptor Vel. It's an unexpected surprise. REI suddenly understood what Noah was thinking. The next moment, Ali appeared in front of Kate and inserted the black finger gun directly into her forehead. Bah! Kate fell down with her eyes open. A hole! We're burst into rage and transformed. However, Ali appeared behind him this time and slapped the opponent on the back with his palm. In an instant, an ultra-miniature wormhole appeared behind Weir, and a high-pressure seawater knife penetrated Weir directly. The seawater greatly suppressed Weir's ability, and the high-pressure seawater knife instantly broke through the defense. In the midst of the flash of lightning, Velociraptor Weir, whose bounty was as high as 240 million Baileys, fell to the ground. Gula, so scary. Who is this guy? I haven't seen it before. Other people in the bar were talking quietly, looking at Noah and others with expressions full of fear and fear. Noah swallowed the remaining cherry pie in one bite without wasting any food, then wiped his mouth, leaving 7,000 Baileys behind. Let's go. Ari casually mentioned Weir, who was seriously injured and unconscious, and then walked away with Noah. After avoiding the surrounding observers, the two disappeared into an abandoned house. Returning to the Nautilus on the bottom of the sea, Noah sealed Vale. The Nautilus then sailed towards Drum Island. Gaia Island is very close to Tsangu Island and is on the same route. Noah and his party, who had mastered the permanent pointer, arrived in the waters near Tsigu Island in less than 3 days. The group of people in disguise landed on Tsigu Island secretly. Except for a few small ports, this ice-covered winter island does not have much population. It is almost entirely an uninhabited ice field. Noah scanned the Drum Island vaguely, and then the group came to a remote jungle. A fawn that was expelled from the group was gnawing at the moss hidden under the snowflakes. This fawn had a unique blue nose. Chopper, who had not yet eaten the Renren fruit, was still a confused deer. He looked up at the sudden appearance of humans, with a hint of curiosity and fear in his eyes, and then quickly fled deep into the jungle. It's just that it underestimated the terror of human beings, and soon Allie jumped out of the wormhole and blocked Chopper's escape direction. But Noah didn't pay attention to the chase between R and Chopper. Weepa, Lockie, and others carefully searched the jungle. After a while, Lockie found the Renren fruit covered in ice and snow on a dead tree that fell to the ground. Picking up this mushroom-like devil fruit, Noah tossed it casually. For humans, this fruit can only be regarded as useless, and it is on the same level as the carp fruit he obtained before. But for animals, this fruit is a heaven-defying opportunity to change their lives. On the other side, the little reindeer, which was exhausted by R's play, finally lost its strength and was carried back by R. REI was a little surprised when he saw the fruit in Noah's hand. "Brother, is this the Renren fruit? Let this reindeer eat it. This devil fruit is useless to humans anyway." After receiving the devil fruit, Alei looked at Chopper with some evil intentions, and then showed a sinister smile. Before Chopper could react, something was stuffed into his mouth, and he felt an unprecedented nausea. However, Alei tightly covered his mouth, not giving him a chance to spit it out. For a moment, Chopper, who was stuffed into the devil fruit, began to change his body, gradually turning into a special humanoid reindeer. "Okay, R, stop playing around, give it to Lilith, let it live with Bebo for a while, and teach some knowledge about human society." "Okay, what a lucky little deer." Ari casually opened the wormhole and took Chopper back to the Rum Kingdom's base. Noah and others continued to explore on Drum Island. This island is not big, only about 70 kilometers in diameter, and the natural environment on it is very harsh and not suitable for human habitation at all. If it weren't for the medical and drug manufacturing industries in the Iron Barrel Kingdom, this island would not be able to support a population of nearly 40,000. In the snowy ice field, Noah and his party came to a village. When they saw the strange Noah and others, the locals immediately became wary. However, when Noah took out hundreds of thousands of belly and said that he was a patient who came to seek medical treatment, the villagers relaxed a little. While using the excuse of seeking medical treatment, Noah was whispering about the internal intelligence of the Iron Bucket Kingdom. Soon he got some very useful information. For example, last year, the king of the Iron Bucket Kingdom expelled the eldest prince Musalu to the neighboring Fire Country because the eldest prince abused his devil fruit ability and released a large number of poisonous spores in the Iron Bucket Kingdom. Apparently, the fungus fruit has been eaten by the great Prince Musalu. Noah was not disappointed by this. After all, it didn't matter if the fruit was eaten. At worst, he could be transformed into an apostle, or he could recycle the devil fruit after the technology to recover was successful. In addition, according to villagers' descriptions, although the second Prince Valpo had a bad character, he did not eat everywhere. This shows that Valpo has not eaten the Tunton fruit at this time. Now, there is a high probability that the Tunton fruit is still within the Iron Bucket Kingdom, and there is a high probability that it is in the treasure house of the royal palace. After all, the current generation of kings of the Iron Bucket Kingdom is not bad. Under his governance, the Iron Bucket Kingdom has accumulated a lot of treasures. The wealth, that fungus fruit, was what the other party was looking for his son. After Alei returned, Noah secretly sneaked into the palace of Tsigu Mountain in the dead of night. Through Alei's ability and electromagnetic wave induction, he quickly found the secret treasure house in the palace. As expected, Tunton fruit is here. The two of them didn't touch anything else and only took away the Tunton fruit. Before leaving, he carved a fake fruit out of wood and put it in the box. Anyway, as long as he didn't eat it, the Iron Bucket Kingdom would not find anything wrong with the fruit. Of course, Noah has no intention of letting go of the medical technology books in the palace library. Over the next month or so, while pretending to see a doctor, Noah and his team secretly collected medical books from the Iron Bucket Kingdom, including copying all the books in the palace library. Except for the witch doctor's book collection, almost all the medical-related books in the Iron Bucket Kingdom were swept away by the Noah family. Chapter 52 Instant Kill, just when Noah and his team finished collecting medical books. A team of 5 people wearing white cloaks and black suits appeared not far from the temporary camp of Noah and others. "Cuckoo, are you sure these people are collecting medical books?" a tall man in the leader asked in a low voice. The purple-haired woman on the side nodded. "I saw them contacting those famous doctors in Sigu Port and then purchased some books from these famous doctors." "Very good. Although I'm not sure if it has anything to do with free fans. These guys are sneaky and must have some dirty secrets. We'll see you later." "Oh, world government's dog nose is really sensitive." "What?" The tall man's pupils narrowed sharply. However, the next second he felt the terrifying oppression. Noah's conquerors instantly suppressed the 5 people. Ali punched through the wormhole, and in an instant, the fist wrapped in armed color hit the back of the neck of the 5 people. Ari picked up the 5 of them and came to the underground cave in the camp. Then Mary was called in to interrogate the 5 CP agents separately. Although these CP agents were very tough talking, it was a pity that Mary didn't need them to say it out loud. She only needed to preset the questions. For example, Mary asked which department of CP they were from. The other party can be tight-lipped, but they can't help but think in their hearts. And Mary can determine the information by sensing their inner thoughts. After draining all the intelligence from these 5 CP agents, Mary directly killed them and then destroyed their bodies to eliminate any traces. Noah looked through the information extracted from the 5 CP6 agents. It seems that the 5 elders still have some sense, but they are a little out of their wits against the protagonist group. It seems that it is not suitable to stay here for a long time. Ali is preparing to set sail, targeting the Kingdom of Fire. "Okay, brother." After clearing all traces of the camp, Noah and others released the Nautilus at a hidden beach on Drum Island, and then quickly sailed to Tierra del Fuego. After arriving in Tierra del Fuego, they casually inquired about the exiled Prince Musalu, and their location was determined, mainly because this guy was very flamboyant and often caused trouble. Noah didn't even think about talking to the other party. He directly crushed and knocked out the seal dragon, and then walked away again. Soon Noah made Musalu into a card apostle. Shinigami, Mizuru fruit plus Veil captured on Gaia. Knight of Wands, Vile Raptor fruit. At this time, Noah had gathered 6 card apostles. But as the number of card apostles increased, he also felt that the power of the devil fruit in his body was approaching the awakening state. And he discovered that the major arcana deck is the core. Even if the minor arcana deck is not collected, it will not affect the awakening of the card fruit. This gave Noah little relief. After all, the major arcana deck only has 22 cards, while the minor arcana deck has 56 cards. Now that he has created Devil, Pan Barton, Exchange Fruit, Emperor, Shiki, Piao Fruit, Shinigami, Mizuru Fruit. He only needs to gather the remaining 19 when you open the arcana card. The fruit of that card will directly enter the awakening state. Of course, this does not mean that Noah will give up the little arcana deck. After all, the large number of little arcana decks can quickly increase the number of mid-level combat forces in the Noah family. For example, the Velociraptor vial was just created. Noah transformed him by exchanging fruits, and then sent him to station on West Cassis Island. The Nautilus sailing on the seabed did not go to nearby Alabasta, but crossed several routes to Broccoli Island, the 6th node island on the 2nd route of the park. The reason for going to this island is not because there is anything on this island worthy of Noah's plot, but because he is looking for the Moon Island near Broccoli Island. Moon Island is an island that does not exist on the current sea map. The reason is that a disaster 132 years ago caused the entire Moon Island to be destroyed. From the few words he collected from the winery, Noah had roughly guessed something. Among the islands that were destroyed in the pirate world, it is estimated that about 10 to 20% were caused by pirates and wars, and only the vast majority were caused by the Tianlong people. Especially for islands like Moon Island that were destroyed by mysterious disasters, there was a high probability that they were destroyed by the celestial dragons. After all, those islands destroyed by pirates or enemy countries will definitely be reported directly by the world government, so there is no need to hide it. One sunny afternoon 2 weeks later, the Nautilus finally discovered the bleak Moon Island, an autumn island, on the sea 196 kilometers northwest of Broccoli Island. After setting foot on Moon Island, although many ruins have been covered by plants, the general outlines still show the former prosperity of this place. Since there has been no human activity for a long time, the flora and fauna here are no different from those in the virgin forest. Brother, this place is pretty good. Ali looked at the surrounding ruins curiously. Unfortunately, the altitude is too low. If the sea level rises by 100 meters in the future, this island will be completely submerged unless the island is moved to an air island. However, this kind of island is not suitable for an air island. Ali also felt a little pity. The reason why Moon Island cannot go to Sky Island is because there are quite a few permanent pointers on Moon Island circulating in the Grand Line, especially the world government. They must have stored permanent pointers on Moon Island. If the Moon Island is moved to the Sky Island, then the world government may know that the Moon Island is on the Sky Island based on the permanent pointer. Unless Joshua's Thunder Fruit is awakened and can change the island's magnetic field, Noah will not casually transport the islands of the Grand Route to the Sky Island. Wander through the ruins of this town, called Sleeping Town. Yes, this is where the Red Earl obtained the vampire fruit. In order to find this place, the winery even lurked in Alabasta's palace library and checked various historical records of Alabasta over the past 800 years. After all, Alabasta, as a kingdom with a history of 4,000 years, is still a powerful country. They must have a very good understanding of the Great Line, especially the Paradise section. At least Moon Island and Sleeping Ancient Town are not taboos. Alabasta must have very comprehensive park chart information. The winery spent nearly 4 months and borrowed Ars Cave fruit to dig a hidden cave under the Alabasta Palace. Hundreds of people were used to copy and organize the entire library's books. Read it again. With the information in Alabasta's Palace Library, the Noah family's understanding of the Grand Route has suddenly improved a lot. Sleeping in the ancient town is an unintentional gain. Originally, the winery collected information from the Alabasta Palace's library to learn about the forbidden medicine held by the Alabasta royal family, luxury water, and the secret of the fruit's rebirth in a fixed area. Chapter 53. Using strength to defeat cleverness, everyone in Sleeping Ancient Town carefully searched every place. Especially those areas where dark rooms or underground structures might exist were carefully searched. However, after 2 days of searching in the town and almost turning over the entire ruins of the town, there was still no trace of the vampire fruit. Sleeping Ancient Town at sunset. Under the bleak autumn wind, a large number of bats were hovering in the air, catching moths and mosquitoes. A curl of smoke rose. Noah and Weepa were grilling Poseidon steaks. REI and Lockie looked at the map on the table with a frown on their faces. On the map, various areas of Sleeping Ancient Town had been marked with a cross, which meant that the area had been searched. Eat first. Noah cut the steak into several portions and handed one to each of R and Lockie. The two of them ate the steak, which was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Noah rekindled his domineering energy, covering the entire Moon Island. With the assistance of electromagnetic waves, he carefully scanned the terrain of Moon Island. The entire Moon Island is not just one town, Sleeping Ancient Town, but there are 4 towns, as well as a palace ruin similar to an altar. The palace ruins are halfway up the mountain in the middle of the island. From a logical analysis, if Moon Island was destroyed by the celestial dragons, then all the treasures on the island must have been looted by the celestial dragons and the world government. As for the vampire fruit that can be preserved, it must be hidden in a very hidden location so that it can slip through the net. They are now searching the ancient town of sleep. In fact, Noah was affected by the memory of his previous life. But in fact, in the memory of the previous life, it only said that the Red Earl found the vampire fruit in Sleeping Ancient Town, but did not introduce the details. It seemed that Robin needed to decipher the content of the ancient text to open the place where the vampire fruit was hidden. After all, the suburbs of Sleeping Ancient Town can also be counted as Sleeping Ancient Town, and the ruins of the palace on the mountainside, less than 2 kilometers away from Sleeping Ancient Town, can actually be counted. But Noah has no intention of continuing to search like this. The next day, early in the morning, Noah borrowed the power of the Piao Piao fruit. The palm of his hand touched the ground, and in an instant the entire Moon Island was floated directly for more than 10 meters, and then he began to roughly tear the ground apart, peeling off all the places where there might be underground ruins. In less than 2 hours, a ruin hidden in a nearby mountain was uprooted and emerged in front of everyone. When the rocky shell of this ruin is torn open, the treasure inside is revealed. Noah and others did not pay much attention to the treasure, which was less than tens of millions of boliaries, but a huge obsidian coffin attracted Noah's attention. Pulling open the cover of the sarcophagus, there was a gorgeously dressed corpse lying inside, with a small box in its arms. Opening the small box, there was a dark red fruit. Is this the vampire fruit? Eli looked at this phantom beast fruit curiously. Noah picked up the parchment book placed next to the corpse's head, opened it, and read it casually for a while. He found that they were all ancient characters that he did not understand, and then lost interest. As for this vampire fruit, Noah plans to give it to Vic. After all, among the core members of the family, Vic is the only one who has not eaten the fruit. However, at this time, Vic can compete with the Brigadier General of the Marine headquarters with his physical skills and domineering power alone. Of course, Noah is very aware of Vic's potential. Even with a steady stream of vitality, Vic can only reach the level of a quasi-general at most. Therefore, eating vampire fruit is the shortest way for Vic to break through to the general level. After putting away the vampire fruits and treasures, everyone started a new voyage without staying on Moon Island for too long. This time Noah is going to take a trip to West Blue. Considering safety issues, he did not plan to go directly to West Blue through the upside-down mountain canal, but planned to detour to South Blue and then cross over to West Blue from the red soil continent on the South Blue side. In fact, you can also go to West Blue from Angel Island. Just follow the West Sky route and arrive at the last stop of the West Sky Summit. Then go down from the West Sky Summit to the sea, which is the middle of West Blue. But Noah didn't choose this route, because traveling to South Blue was also one of Noah's purposes. After leaving Moon Island, the Nautilus did not sail on the bottom of the sea all the time, but sailed on the sea surface for a period of time. During this period, Noah and others experienced the strange weather of the Grand Line. 1 second the wind is sunny, and the next second there is a violent storm. This is barely bearable, but the sudden appearance of tornadoes, hail, and huge waves is a fatal situation. Ships that can sail on the Grand Route must either have powerful navigators or powerful masters. It was only because of their strength that Noah and his team dared to sail on the Grand Route without Lilith's company. This is the boldness of a skilled person. After bypassing Sinan Island where Alabasta is located, they entered the range of the 5th route of the park. At this moment, Noah, who was reading the newspaper on the deck, suddenly frowned. REI, prepare to dive. Although Ali didn't know what Noah was thinking, he quickly took Lockheed and began to control the Nautilus to dive. Half an hour later, a huge sailing ship appeared in the nearby waters. Jesus boo, didn't you say there was a ship nearby? The instant noodle head standing on the mast also looked confused at this time. What should we do now? Lackey Lou was a little anxious. As the deputy captain, Ben Beckman immediately made a decision. Abandon the plan to go to Drum Island and return to Twin Gorges immediately. No problem. It's just the captain's illness. Ben Beckman is also very helpless now. We have no way to take risks on Drum Island. Originally, they planned to borrow a pointer to Drum Island from a nearby ship, but they did not expect that the ship disappeared. Faced with the weird weather on the Grand Route, even on the route, Beckman could not guarantee that he would encounter other ships in the next few days, and there was no guarantee that the other ship would have a pointer to the Drum Island. Now Shank's illness can only last about 10 days at most. If they try their best, they can indeed return to Twin Gorges within 10 days. This time, they were careless. They originally thought that their opponent was a nobody, but they didn't expect that the opponent's ship's doctor was a disease fruit user. Before he died, he released a hidden virus. Shanks and 3 other crew members were infected with the virus, now fell into a coma. Just after the red-haired pirates left, on the nearby sea, the Nautilus slowly surfaced. Red-haired Shanks? Are you poisoned? Although Noah was at the bottom of the sea just now, with the blessing of the electromagnetic field, he heard the conversation of Beckman and others. Of course, Noah did have the idea of killing the other party just now. However, He gave up this idea after sensing the auras of Beckman and others. Although the red-haired pirates only reached the throne of Sea Emperor around 1514, their strength at this time was already extraordinary. Moreover, the red-haired pirates are known as the Iron Wall Imperial Group, and almost all of its crew members are masters of physical skills, spearmanship, and swordsmanship, and their strength is relatively balanced. At this time, Beckman was at the level of Associate General, plus a dozen other crew members equivalent to the level of Marine Major General or Lieutenant General. Even if Noah tried his best and mobilized other members of the family to support him, he still would not be 100% general. The opponent is sure to be killed here. What's more, he didn't know how seriously ill the red-haired Shanks was. If he is not sure that he can destroy the opponent, Noah will not take action easily. This will not only expose his purpose, but also arouse the enemy's vigilance. The next time he takes action, there will be no surprise. Chapter 54, The Baron of the Stomach. 3 days have passed since the unexpected encounter with the red-haired pirates. At this time, the Nautilus had crossed 3 routes and arrived at the sea near the windless zone. Suddenly, Noah's hand holding the pen stopped. "Weepa, come up, adjust the direction, and sail northeast." "Yes, Lord Noah." Soon the Nautilus floated to the surface, then turned its bow and moved rapidly toward the northeast. Noah ordered again. "Arii, prepare to fight." "Okay." More than an hour later, the Nautilus appeared near an island. Noah stood on the deck and looked at the surrounding islands with a hint of surprise on his face. It really took no effort to get it. "I didn't expect that there are more than a dozen stomach barons growing here. Brother Noah, there are creatures approaching in the sea." Alii reminded him vigilantly. "It's just a little fish man." In an instant, Noah touched the sea with his hands, and the surrounding sea water floated. The sea water enveloped a murloc. The murloc was wearing sunglasses and holding a meteor hammer in both hands. His body was covered in armed colors, and he swam towards the Nautilus quickly. On the other side, in an island not far away, an old dwarf man wearing a Viking horn hat saw the suddenly floating sea water mass through the phone monitoring outside, and his face changed drastically. "Is this the floating fruit of the golden lion? But that person doesn't look like a golden lion?" Benjak, the vice-captain of the Ward Pirates. "Who?" Benjak's expression changed. However, his strength was too weak. Alii jumped out of the wormhole and knocked out the opponent with a fist in an instant. Since Benjak, who was the brain, was subdued, the other 2 members of the Golosidi were unaware of the situation outside. Sebastian, the fishman who fought against Noah, was very powerful in physical skills and also mastered the jiu-jitsu and karate of the fishmen. But it was a pity that he met Noah. Sebastian, who had just rushed out of the sea water, encountered a large piece of iron sand and was then wrapped into a fishman iron sand dumpling. Even if he tried his best to use fishman karate and armed colors, he still couldn't withstand the pervasive iron sand. Piapiao fruit is no better than Logia in terms of abusing food. Anyone whose strength does not reach the Marine Elite Lieutenant General level will basically die when encountering Noah. This Murloc's strength is almost at the level of an ordinary Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General. Especially after being blinded and with accumulated hidden injuries, his strength can only be considered as barely able to compete with the Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General. Noah did not kill the opponent directly, but prepared to torture him about the training methods of fishman karate and jiu-jitsu. Other side, Luo and Joshua, who were temporarily transferred by Noah, also found their opponents on the Golosidi. Luo faced off against the Ward Pirates ship's doctor, Nagin. Joshua versus Guy Ram, a combatant of the Ward Pirates. The ship's hospital room on the Golosidi. Nakin, who had briefly recovered from a year ago by taking medicine, looked at the little devil in front of him with a very ugly expression. Fruits of the operation. You kids' luck is really enviable. However, I have no interest in playing games with you. Chinese medicine boxing method. Aconite piercing the heart. You have failed. Luo put the sword in his hand back into the scabbard. What? Nakin became angry, but the next second she was speechless. Ugh. Nakin was seen twitching all over, kneeling on the ground and retching. An invisible ultrasonic wave resonated with the medicine in Nakin's body at a special frequency. This resonance instantly caused the poison residue and hidden wounds accumulated in her body to explode. Even her armed color could not suppress it. Stay with this backlash. This is Luo's special development direction for surgical fruits under the guidance of Noah. No matter how powerful a creature is, its body will always have weaknesses, hidden wounds, poisonous residues, and disharmony. Unless you don't make a carbon-based creature, this weakness is difficult to avoid. Tell me your medical skills and the formula of the drug that can temporarily restore youth, and I can give you a good time. Nika, who had been torn into pieces by the surgery, had a trace of bitterness on his lips. Is this the trend of the times? We are really not suitable to continue sailing. The frustrated Nika told Luo his medical skills and the formula of dead would rejuvenation medicine. Mary, who was hiding aside, exited from the light avoidance state and nodded to Luo. She didn't lie. Nika was very surprised. He didn't expect that there was another person hiding beside him. Luo didn't have the slightest idea of mercy and directly crushed the opponent's heart, giving Nika a pleasant surprise. Since as a pirate, he had to be aware of being killed, he would not show mercy to any pirate. On the other side, Joshua and Garam were fighting fiercely. Garam's cube fruit is well developed. However, the thunder fruit is so powerful that it can almost completely crush the cube fruit. Among the ruins of piled cubes, Garam panted and stared at the young man in front of him. Hufu, the thunder fruit is truly one of the strongest Logias. The tide of the times, you should quit. Joshua didn't talk nonsense. Wireless power transmission millions of volts. Unknowingly, Garam, who had part of his body magnetized by Joshua, suddenly felt a huge electric current in his body. Sizzling. Garam was covered in electric snakes and green smoke, and then his eyes turned white and he fell down. Capture completed. On the Nautilus, Noah, who was monitoring the Golosidi and the surrounding situation, already knew that everyone had solved the opponent, and then let Weepa drive the Nautilus to the shore. The entire Golosidi is very large, with a radius of about 500 to 600 meters, and the surface is covered with a large number of trees as a cover. It is an island ship, somewhat similar to Moonlight Moria's thriller bark. Soon the Noah family took over the Golosidi and renamed it the World. Binjak and the giant fishman Sebastian were handed over to Mary for interrogation, and Garam, the cube fruit power user, was made into a card apostle. Justice. Garam cube fruit. The reason why the cube fruit fits the Justice in the Major Arcana deck is that the cube symbolizes regular geometry, which is more suitable for the lawful card of Justice. After dealing with the legacy of the Ward pirates, Noah turned his attention to the Stomach Baron on the nearby sea. The so-called Baron of the Stomach, also known as the Stomach Baron, is a giant carnivorous plant that is as big as a small island. Among them, the most famous group of stomach barons belongs to the Sound Wave Islands. But this does not mean that the Baron of the Stomach only grows in the Sonic Islands. In fact, the Baron of the Stomach can be found in many sea areas along the Grand Line. The Baron of Stomach in front of him is obviously not the Sound Wave Islands, because there is a man named Hercules on the Sound Wave Islands, and no one exists here. The Ward pirates came here to collect ingredients from the Baron of Stomach. Chapter 55 Unexpected Gain Seal the World Island ship behind the card. Noah took R and others onto one of the Stomach Barons. The Petal Island of the Baron of the Stomach is full of tempting ingredients, as well as the animals that are attracted to it, especially those amphibian sea beasts, almost all of which are extremely full after eating. The Petal Island derived from the Baron of the Stomach has a different flavor. Ali casually broke open a piece of plant meat covered with nectar, stuffed it into his mouth and chewed. Woo, it tastes great. Lillian, who heard that she had discovered the Baron of the Stomach, was holding a small notebook and recording the various ingredients on it. The Petal Island part of the Baron of the Stomach, except for the central feeding port, is filled with fertile leaves. These fertile leaves are similar to soil, and there are not only honey flowers, plant meats, and delicious food derived from the Baron of the Stomach. Fruits, as well as a large number of plants and fungi that coexist with the Baron of Stomach. Lillian didn't pay much attention to the beast that fed her into a fat house, but the symbiotic plants and fungi of the stomach baron were all very delicious ingredients. Lillian looked at the dazzling array of ingredients in front of her, and she could no longer suppress the saliva at the corner of her mouth. Brother Noah, can we build a base here? Here? No thought for a while. It's not impossible to set up a secret base here. However, it certainly cannot be set directly on the stomach baron, nor can it be placed on the nearby sea. The reason is very simple. The stomach baron will release pheromones that attract animals. Not only will it attract animals, but even humans will sometimes find it difficult to avoid it. If the base is set directly on the nearby sea, it will be discovered by passing ships sooner or later. And the Noah family can't go crazy and kill everyone who passes by. Therefore, the base can be set up, but only in the sky. Lillian, after you go back, contact Monet and ask her to send someone to use cloud-making technology to transform a small cumulus emperor over the sea area and place it here, and then notify me to come over. I am in the cumulus emperor. A small empty island is arranged above. Lillian nodded very happily. Thank you, Brother Noah. You can come here to study cooking, but you can't expose it casually. Do you understand? I will keep it secret. Lillian nodded quickly. At this moment, Weepa, Mantis, and others who went out to explore other stomach barons made a call. After a while, our brought Lockie over from one of the petal islands of the stomach baron. Lockie was holding a dark purple fruit covered with arabesque patterns in his hand. Noah took one look at the fruit and immediately recognized the type of fruit. Huh? It turns out to be a sick fruit. Sick fruit. Luo, who was not far away, looked at the fruit in surprise. Noah also didn't expect that the fruit of the sick fruit ability user, who was killed by the red-haired Shanks a few days ago, would be reborn here. This disease fruit is the fruit of the poison Q of the Blackbeard pirates in the original timeline. But there is no problem with this. After all, the poison Q is only 14 years old at this time, and he most likely ate the disease fruit later in life. If Noah and his party did not find this fruit, there is a high probability that this fruit would be eaten whole by the stomach baron, and then the stomach baron would be affected by the devil fruit and die of illness in the sea. This is not because the ability of the disease fruit itself has side effects, but because the sea water will make the Esper powerless. Once the baron of the stomach becomes powerless, it will not be able to devour the animals that are attracted to it, thus causing its petal island to be eaten by animals. Clean, then begin to lack nutrients and finally wither. This is also the fate of most sea creatures after eating devil fruits. Noah looked at the sick fruit in his hand and knew that this fruit was most suitable for doctors to eat. Ale, go to West Cassis Island and bring Andy here. Alei nodded. Noah's family, do you want to give this fruit to my father? Noah threw away the disease fruit. This fruit is most suitable for doctors. You already have the fruit of surgery. Now only your parents are the most suitable in the family. That's true. After a while, Ar's wormhole opened again. Ari appeared in front of everyone with Andy. Andy, who was confused, quickly asked, Sir Noah, do you need my help? This fruit for you is Paramecia's disease fruit. Seeing the fruit Noah threw over, Andy looked a little unbelievable. Sir Noah, isn't this too expensive? Devil fruits are meant for people to eat. You and your wife are the most suitable for this fruit in the family. Don't refuse. Devil fruits can only reach their potential in people who know how to use them. I hope you won't let me down. Expect. Andy nodded excitedly. Thank you, Lord Noah, for your consideration. I will definitely work hard to contribute my strength to the family. Eat quickly. And he didn't hesitate, picked up the fruit, and took a bite. Luo looked at the mask of pain on his father's face and showed a hint of schadenfreude. Dad, you have to eat it all. I also ate it all before. Andy, who didn't want to be compared with his son, just ate like crazy without saying a word. Noah shook his head, took out Andy's favorite pear juice from the card, and handed it over. Rinse your mouth. Thank you, Mr. Noah. Andy quickly took it and drank a large bottle of pear juice in one gulp. Andy, how are you doing with the luxury water formula you obtained from Alabasta? Upon hearing this question, Andy immediately became serious. Sir Noah, we have studied the formula of luxury water, coupled with the medical books obtained in the Iron Bucket Kingdom, and have currently developed 3 derivative products. Noah said with great interest, Tell me about it. The first one is based on luxury water, with the addition of life blood ingredients, which greatly suppresses the side effects and allows people to instantly burst out with the strength of Marine Headquarters Colonel. The duration is about an hour, and the side effects will be felt after an hour. It will be very tired and depleted, so I named it Hao Shue. The second one is based on the heroic blood and adds IQ grass ingredients, which can make people instantly burst out with the strength of a Marine Headquarters Major General. It lasts for about half an hour. The side effect is losing one's mind, and after the effect of the medicine wears off, there will be more the depletion of Qi and blood, and even the failure of internal organs. I named it Crazy Blood. The third type abandons the previous ideas of heroic blood and crazy blood, and combines the ingredients of IQ grass and the characteristics of lifeblood. It can be slowly released in the body for a month, allowing people to perform high-intensity exercises while the medicine is taking effect. Through training, you can quickly and safely improve your strength. It has varying degrees of amplification effects on people whose physical strength is before Lieutenant General Marine. I named it Origin Blood. Noah is very satisfied with these three results. Yes, how blood and Origin Blood can be used by some members. I hope you can continue to work hard. It is an honor for me to be recognized by Lord Noah, and he was very happy. The two talked for more than an hour. Noah gave some guidance on the development direction of Andy's disease fruit, and then asked Ali to send Andy and Luo back to West Cassis Island. Lillian went back to the Kingdom of Rum, preparing for Monet to place cumulus emperor clouds over the Baron of the Stomach. Noah and his team left the Baron of the Stomach, controlled the Nautilus through the Piao Piao fruit, and prepared to cross the windless zone and enter South Blue. Chapter 56 Synthesis Ideas June 22nd, 1506 in the High Yuan calendar. The Nautilus, which was at an altitude of 10,000 meters, almost came and went without a trace. Already arrived at the northern part of South Blue. As a temporary navigator, Lockie carefully looked through the chart information of South Blue, and Ali would open wormholes from time to time from the current departments of the Kingdom of Dawn, as well as the control area documents that need Noah's review and decision will be sent over. The current control areas of the Kingdom of Dawn include the Governor's Palace of Mackerel Port in Rum Kingdom, total population of 240,000. The Governor's Palace of Lion Island and Sky Island, total population of 12,000, and the Governor's Palace of Ant Nest on West Cassis Island in the East China Sea, total population 11,000. There are also North Blue's Cayenne Island Eavesdropping Station, East China Sea Tidal Sea Base, and North Blue Coral Sea Base. Among them, the population of West Cassis Island has almost reached its upper limit. The population on it is mainly the remnants of the original free fans, and these are all people who have been cured by Luo one after another. The upper limit of the population that Sky Island can accommodate is about 30,000. Currently, there are more than 3,000 Sky Islanders from the original Angel Island, more than 2,000 Yuan people, and more than 1,000 Sky Islanders from Burka Island. In addition, more than 4,000 people were drawn from the remnants of free fans to reach the current population of 11,000. To expand the population capacity of Sky Island, more islands must be moved up. However, the Cumulus Emperor near Angel Island is currently limited and can only accommodate a dozen small islands at most. The bearing capacity of Cumulus Imperialis is not infinite, and the natural growth of Cumulus Imperialis requires special conditions, namely the composition of sea floor stone. Huge cumulus clouds can form near Angel Island due to the eruption of submarine volcanoes in the sea below. In other words, the ingredients of sea floor stone are actually brought up from the underground by magma. If we only rely on natural volcanic eruptions to bring the sea rock composition into the sky, it must be a long-term process to form Cumulus Emperor. Noah has realized this problem. For example, the Cumulus Emperor planned to be built over the Sea of Gluttony. The sea area where the previously discovered Baron of the Stomach is located can only be cut from the Cumulus Emperor cloud layer near Angel Island or Burka Island. This approach is equivalent to tearing down the east wall to make up for the west wall. Noah already has an idea about the composition of sea floor stone. Lillian, who returned to Rum Kingdom, hadn't rested for 2 days before Noah arranged to go to the Black Rock Island where the submarine volcano erupted. Black Rock Island is still the same, with dark red magma constantly flowing out of the crater. After more than a year of precipitation, Lillian has completed the temperature limit simulation of the compound. At this time, her flame-burning temperature has reached 4,990 degrees Celsius. But this time, she came here not to test the temperature limit, but to complete the task assigned by Noah. Lillian's arm turned into a form simulating liquid flammable material. Fire-killing black dragon wave. The arm filled with liquid combustible material shot into the sky and then crashed into the crater. Boom! This move, which concentrated almost one-third of Lillian's physical strength, instantly penetrated the magma of the volcano crater and reached a depth of more than 1,000 meters in the underground magma. The Earth is boiling. A few minutes later, the energy in the underground magma chamber was stimulated, and the volcano erupted directly. Fire-killing steaming dragon wave. Lillian controlled the high-temperature water vapor from the surrounding sea with both hands and instantly poured it into the crater. The conflict was like the tip of a needle against an awn of wheat, causing water vapor and volcanic ash to continuously erupt high into the sky. This time, the volcano erupted artificially and lasted for more than 3 hours. During this period, the high-temperature water vapor and volcanic ash erupted into the high altitude, almost blackening the sky for dozens of kilometers around. Ari brought Noah over here, sealed part of the volcanic ash cloud, and brought it back to the Kuan processing workshop on the island to test whether these volcanic ash clouds could be used as raw materials for Emperor Cumulus. The experiment was very successful. These volcanic ash clouds do contain the composition of sea stone. With a little processing, Emperor Cumulus clouds can be produced. The success of this experiment allowed the Noah family to obtain the raw materials that can produce Emperor Cumulus on a large scale, laying the foundation for gradually expanding the scale of the Sky Island in the future. Of course, this experiment also verified that the composition of sea floor stone comes from underground magma. Based on the results of this experiment, Noah asked Ajay's Ministry of Science and Education to set up a seafloor stone synthesis laboratory to try to synthesize large seafloor stones from volcanic ash. The large pieces of sea stone currently circulating in the sea are all from the country of Wano and are almost monopolized by Kaido and the world government. In a short period of time, the Noah family was unable to capture Wano. Even if they managed to plot against Kaido and use strategies to capture Wano, it would still be difficult to withstand the covetousness of the world government. Therefore, if you want to obtain cheap and high-quality sea floor stone products, artificially synthesizing large pieces of sea floor stone yourself is a path worth trying. In Noah's view, the fundamental reason why Wano has a large area of sea floor stone mines is the special underground magma chamber, which forms veins similar to basalt underground. In other words, the sea floor stone component in magma can be compressed into crystals through a high-pressure, airtight environment. As for why no scientists have discovered this situation for so many years, the reason is actually complicated. On the one hand, Wano, as the core mining area of sea floor stone, is closed to the outside world. It is difficult for outsiders to conduct on-site inspection of the mineralization geology of sea floor stone. On the other hand, there has been a civilizational rift in this world, which has caused many technologies to be lost and the number of scientists to be very rare. In addition, the world government intends to control science and technology. Those who study science have either been incorporated or eliminated, or they're simply inside Impel Down City, with only a few who have slipped through the net operating secretly outside, including Vegapunk, who is known as the smartest in the world. In Noah's view, it is just a humanoid hard drive that stores ancient technology. The idea of synthesizing seafloor stone crystals can basically be deduced by anyone who knows the world of pirates and adds some scientific research methodologies. The sea has the composition of seafloor stone, and the cumulus clouds on the Sky Island have the composition of seafloor stone, which means that the composition of seafloor stone is widely distributed. Based on the continuous soaring sea currents in the waters of Gaia Island and the characteristics of the volcanic island in Wano, it can be inferred that the composition of the sea floor stone was brought to the ground by volcanic eruptions. Since they are all composed of sea floor stone, why can't we use dispersed sea floor stone volcanic ash to synthesize large blocks of sea floor stone crystals? People in the pirate world can't think of it because they are fans of the authorities, but Noah is different. He is a time traveler who has watched the development of the pirate world for a period of time. In fact, for many things, you only need to calm down and think carefully, and you can know the secrets. After Noah arranged these things, the Nautilus had arrived near the first inhabited island in South Blue. The group of people dressed up in disguise and secretly landed at the port of this small island, preparing to inquire about anything worthy of attention in South Blue recently. In the plot of the original timeline, South Blue is basically in a blank state, and there are only two places that are more famous. One is the island where the son of One Piece was born. The other is the kingdom of Sorb, the hometown of Bartholomew Bear, the greatest enemy of the pirate world. There is basically no appearance information on other islands. This made Noah a little more interested, and he was ready to explore South Blue. At the port bar on Baimu Island, Noah and his party were inquiring for the necessary information. Chapter 57 interlude on the way inside the Bellwood bar in the port. Noah read the newspaper while Allie chatted with the bartender. After reading this month's South Blue weekly newspaper, he looked up at the bounty notice wall next to the bar cabinet, where South Blue's more famous pirates were pasted. Noah's eyes scanned the row of reward notices. I didn't find many familiar people. The later Supernova's kid, Kira, and others were just little kids at this time. However, there was a rather unexpected person who appeared among these reward orders. Katrandim, captain of the Crescent Pirates, collector of beauty heads, Crescent Hunter, Ninetails Fox Fruit ability user, and later captain of the No. 6th ship of the Blackbeard Pirates. Although this guy looks like an ant, she was actually only 34 years old when she first joined the Blackbeard Pirates, and she is only 20 years old now. But Noah didn't expect that this guy was born in South Blue. Judging from the description of the reward order, Katrandim has eaten the Ninetails Fox Fruit and has recently hunted and killed young girls from multiple participating countries. Suddenly, the bar door was slowly pushed open. A cup of Earl Grey tea and a plate of biscuits. Huh? It's actually him? Interesting. The corners of Noah's mouth raised slightly. The visitor was wearing a blue and white striped short-sleeve shirt and a pair of blue and white striped framed glasses. Although the bartender wanted to complain about the other person coming to the bar to drink tea, but when he thought about the many weirdos on the sea, a bartender must be self-aware, otherwise it would be easy to cause unnecessary trouble. He quickly brewed black tea for the other person. The man sitting not far from Noah picked up the newspaper and reward order on the counter. Not a moment. The bartender will take the teapot, cups, and a plate of cookies and quietly place them on the left-hand side of the person. Are you a bounty hunter? Noah asked with interest. The man put down the newspaper and took a sip of black tea. Come with us? No, I'm just an ordinary businessman. I want to go to the black country of Poseidon these days. If you are willing to accept the escort mission, I am willing to pay a reward of 500,000 belly. Black Poseidon country? The man frowned. Obviously, he knew the recent situation in the waters near Black Poseidon country, but the price of 500,000 baileys per trip was already a very good price among the merchant ship escort missions. After thinking for a moment, okay, I accept this task. I am the bounty hunter Galdino. Noah smiled and raised his teacup. I'm the president of Noah Trading Company, Noah, Mr. Galdino. Please give me your advice in the next half month. The two toasted a cup of tea from a distance. 2 hours later, a commercial transport ship stored in the cards, filled with rum, appeared in the port of Cherokee Island. Noah took Allie, as well as Chloe and others who came to intern in disguise, and boarded the commercial transport ship named Wonkai. As for Weepa, Lockie, Mantis, and others, their characteristics as Sky Islanders were too obvious. After entering South Blue, Noah planned to send them back to Sky Island by normal sea navigation. CLO, are you still used to it? President, I'm very good. Crow nodded. After more than a year of transformation, not only has Crow become much stronger physically, but he has also undergone tremendous changes in his mind. Crow's skills in the training camp were navigation and staff coordination, so he served as a temporary navigator on the ship. Allie is the first mate. After Galtino boarded the ship, he had been lying on the beach chair on the deck to bask in the sun. He was not aware of the strength of the members of the trading company on the ship. This is mainly because the strength gap between the two sides is too big. Even after eating the wax fruit, Gardino's wild physical skills are still difficult to compete with the students from the training camp. Because in the Noah family training camp, the graduation requirements are to learn the 6 moves and awaken a kind of domineering force. The dozen or so temporary crew members on the ship at this time are all elite members of the family who have mastered the 2-color hockey and the 6th form of Grandmaster. In the captain's room, Noah looked through the various information collected by the winery in South Blue, including Galdino from the South Blue Bounty Hunter Group and Katrin Dye from the South Blue Pirate Group. Beautiful. Brother, Tequila from the winery just sent news that the Crescent Moon Pirates appeared on Fully Island. After hunting down several girls there, they also robbed supplies. Tequila has already put his life in paper clips, hidden among those supplies. After saying that, Alii took out a glass bottle containing life paper and saw that the life paper inside the glass bottle was pointing in one direction. Noah put down the document in his hand. Go in this direction. Yes. A week later, in a calm sea, the Wonkai still kept moving at full speed. At this time, Galdino was on pins and needles. Although Noah had no showdown these days, Galdino still accidentally saw many books through indirect methods. After browsing books such as 5 volumes of dragon slaying, analysis reports of countries in the East China Sea, incidents in the kingdom of Fravans, human hunting and destruction of nations, Galdino felt bad. Now Galdino just wants to complete the escort mission quickly and then leave Noah and others to avoid being affected. After all, he is not a fool and knows that this kind of thing is not something he can participate in. Just when Galdino was thinking wildly, President, there is a small island in the southeast. Should we stop ashore to rest and replenish fresh water? Crow asked loudly to Noah on the deck. The corners of Noah's mouth raised. Okay, because their destination has arrived. At this time, in the glass bottle of life paper in the captain's room, the piece of life paper was pointing towards this desert island. At the same time, in a hidden bay on the other side of the desert island, there is a large sailboat parked. In the camp on the shore, several pirates are barbecuing, and in one of the largest tents, several white flesh worms are entangled. An indescribable sound resounded throughout the camp. Sister is really amazing. I wonder if those 3 teenagers can withstand it. You should worry about yourselves. Several of the stronger pirates' expressions suddenly changed, as if they remembered some nightmare-like experience. At this moment, a pirate who was on guard at the top of the island rushed into the camp panting. Boss Sean, there is a merchant ship approaching on the other side of the island. It seems that the other party is about to land. Vice Captain Sean was a thin man with glasses. As soon as he heard the news, he could only stand up and go to Katrin's tent to report the matter. Arriving outside the tent, Sean shouted, Sister Daime, there is a merchant ship landing on the other side of the island. Please handle it as soon as possible. Tsh, what a disappointment. Katrin Daime's dissatisfied voice came from inside. However, although she was dissatisfied, she quickly put on her clothes and walked out of the tent with her weapon. Has the ship landed? It should be almost there. When the little monkey came to report just now, it was about 1 kilometer away from the coast. Sean quickly explained. After lighting a lady's cigarette, Katrin Deem sneered, I've just gotten excited. These guys came at the right time. I'm going to chop off their limbs with my own hands later. Sean quickly echoed. Haha, if eldest sister takes action, they will be dead, but in order to prevent them from escaping, why don't we divide our forces into 2 groups? Not bad. Sean, you know how to use tactics. You are worthy of being my vice captain. Chapter 58, Hunting the Other Side of the Nameless Desert Island. The Wonkai stopped near the mouth of a small river, and several of its crewmen pretended to fetch water. On the deck, Noah sat on the side of Galdino and picked up a cup of black tea. Mr. Galdino, many people are eager for Roger's secret treasure. Why didn't you go to sea and join them? Well, I don't have that ambition, Galdino said with a smile and waved his hands. Noah smiled and shook his head. I see. There are fewer and fewer self-aware people like Mr. Galdino in this sea. Galdino did not answer, but drank black tea. Suddenly, a large sailboat with a skull and crossbones flag appeared on the open sea. The lookout on the mast shouted, A pirate ship is approaching. Bang, bang, bang. A series of gunshots rang out in the jungle on the island. Galdino's expression changed, and he immediately produced a large amount of liquid wax. Wall of candles. Crow raised his glasses. Everyone is free to fight back. Receive, boom. The two artillery pieces on the Wonkai opened fire one after another, bombarding the pirate ships attacking from the outer sea. Gardino's cannon wall gave Wonkai a layer of defense, blocking quite a few shells and bullets. Right now, a strong wind rushed out into the forest. I didn't expect to meet the famous wax figure hunter Gardino. Gardino, who was on guard with a gun on the deck, saw the woman appearing on the beach. His face suddenly turned ugly, and he said in a gloomy voice, "President Noah, the opponent is Katrin Daime, the captain of the Crescent Pirates. Her strength is extraordinary. I may not be able to protect you later. You should pay attention to your own safety." As soon as he finished speaking, Galdino's hands turned into rotating machine guns. Candle Gatling. Bang, bang, bang. Countless candle bullets swept towards Katrin Diem and the pirates behind her. Katrin Diem's body instantly expanded in a large circle and entered the form of an orc. 9 foxtails were waving. Her hands and feet turned into fox claws, and fox ears popped out of her head. Hey, just let me see the power of the wax fruit. Of course, Galdino would not stupidly rush over to fight with the animal-type ability user. He immediately created a dozen candle soldiers, used the candle soldiers as cover, and fired cold shots from behind. The two sides fought fiercely back and forth on the beach. On the other side, the Crescent Moon pirate ship was approaching quickly, unaware of the danger that was just around the corner. Noah drank black tea the whole time and had no intention of taking action. Even Allie was uninterested when the distance between the two ships is less than 100 meters. Crow took off his black suit, and Moonwalk appeared on the deck of the Crescent Moon. Sean, the vice captain of the Crescent Pirates, didn't react for a moment. Crow's Espada Cat claw had already slit his throat. Poof! Blood spurted out on the deck. Sean couldn't even scream, so he fell to the ground and twitched. You are so weak. A worthless scum. As soon as he finished speaking, 5 more pirates had their throats cut and died. Terror instantly enveloped the hearts of all pirates. Some of the timid pirates were already trembling with fear. Shoot quickly. Let's go up together, shoulder to shoulder. Kill. Unfortunately, the strength gap between the two sides was too great. Crow slaughtered all the pirates on the Crescent Moon without even using his weapon color. At this time, Katrin Daime, who was fighting with Gardino, did not notice the tragedy on the Crescent Moon because the opponent she faced was Gardino, who liked to use the old 6 tactics, and the two sides were evenly matched. Crow, without a drop of blood on his body, returned to the deck of the Wonkai. Sir, do you want me to continue? Noah shook his head. Wait a minute. If Galdino loses, you take action. As ordered. Crow stepped aside and wiped the Espada Cat's paws with a towel, but his eyes were fixed on the battle on the beach. The other pirates on the beach were also cleaned up by the temporary crew one after another. At this time, Katrin Daime finally came to her senses. She found that not only her men on the beach were killed, but even the Crescent Moon was motionless, which gave her a bad feeling. Similarly, Galdino also noticed the changes around him. Were all the other pirates killed? Something's wrong. Something's very wrong. Galdino and Katrin Diem stopped at the same time, and then observed their surroundings vigilantly. You won't know if you don't look at it, but you will be shocked when you look at it. The two of them found that the pirates around them died very neatly, almost all with one blow. Coupled with the spotless Noah, Crow, and others on the Wonkai, the two of them were highly wary of Noah and his party. Seeing the two people stop, Crow knew that he could no longer continue watching the show. He shaved his head and appeared in front of Katrin Daime in an instant. When Katrin Diem saw this scene, her mind couldn't help but think of a Marine colonel she had met before, who would also suddenly appear with physical skills like this. What a waste of a fantasy beast fruit. Crow's cat's paw suddenly turned black. Silent killing technique. Not good. Katrin Diem's animal instinct reacted instantly, and her hair stood on end like a frightened kitten. Poof! 5 wounds were torn open in her abdomen in an instant, and blood gushed out. Even the pain did not have time to be fed back to the brain. Throat, heart, femoral artery, kidney spine. Poof! The silent cat claw attack avoided all vital points. But at this time, Katrin Jime's body was covered with wounds, and the blood that kept pouring out made her body weaker and weaker. If she hadn't been a Phantom Beast-type user, she would have died long ago. Gardino, who was not far away, felt a biting coldness all over his body. He did not expect that this gentle navigator on the ship had such terrifying strength. Suddenly, Noah raised his eyebrows, and then a hidden electromagnetic wave erupted from his body. 11 kilometers away on the sea, a news bird is flying over here. The next moment, an invisible electric current emerged from the news bird, and then the news bird smoked and fell from the air into the sea. His eyes returned to the desert island. Katrin Daime had fallen to the ground, her whole body covered in blood. Noah threw out a card and sealed the opponent. At this time, in the forest, the few members who had pretended to fetch water appeared on the beach with 5 lifeless-looking teenagers. Apparently, they went to the other side of the island to clean up the remaining pirates in the pirate camp, and these 5 teenagers were successfully rescued. Noah knew very well that after being tortured by Katrin Daime in turn, these teenagers were greatly harmed physically and mentally, and could only be temporarily sent to a training camp for psychological counseling. However, there is another person on the beach at this time who needs to be dealt with. Noah looked at Galdino. He showed a big white face and asked with a half-smile, "Mr. Galdino, I wonder what you have learned after reading those books." "What?" Galdino was surprised at first, but then realized, "Did you do it on purpose?" "What do you think?" Noah asked. Suddenly, Galdino felt anguish in his heart that he couldn't express. He knew that he was very likely to be on a pirate ship, and it was an extraordinary pirate ship. He asked bitterly, "What do you want?" "I just want to sincerely invite Mr. Galdino to join our big family and create a new world together. What do you think?" "Haha, no." Although he wanted to answer this, Galdino knew that he had no room to refuse. Especially after seeing Crow gearing up at the side, Galdino decisively gave in. "Okay, I join. Chapter 59 Guidance: The Journey of Wong Kai-heo continues. Although Galdino agreed to join, Noah did not immediately let him join the training camp, mainly because he was older and was 21 years old this year. So Noah temporarily arranged for Galdino to go with the ship. This time, their destination is the famous Changsho tribe in South Blue, the White Mountain Kingdom. The culture of the White Mountain Kingdom is quite special, similar to West Blue's Flower Country. The later captain of the broadcast pirates, Scalachiman Apu, was a member of the Longhands clan born in the White Mountain Kingdom of South Blue. The purpose of Noah and his party is to find the sound fruit that has not been eaten by Apu. In fact, the correct name of this fruit should be the musical instrument fruit. In the plot of One Piece, there are 3 music-related fruits, namely the sonic fruit, the song fruit, and the sound fruit. Judging from the subsequent development of Apu's abilities, the concept of the sound fruit is that the musical instrument supersedes the human body. Yuta's singing fruit, on the other hand, is biased toward the superpower of the concept of song melody. The sonic fruit eaten by Anthony has superpowers that are biased towards the physical nature of sound vibrations. There are certain differences and overlaps between the 3. As for the sound fruit, Noah found it in the White Mountain Kingdom after divination using tarot cards. On the journey to the White Mountain Kingdom at full speed, Galdino could only bite the bullet and accept Noah's comprehensive teachings. In addition to cultural classes, there were also domineering classes, physical skills classes, and ability development classes. Noah watched Gardino making wax soldiers and various candle weapons, and reminded him calmly, "Your development in candle shaping is already very good, but you have not fully understood the conceptual essence of the wax fruit." Conceptual essence? The semi-illiterate Galdino looked confused. Apparently, he didn't know the essence of wax. The essence of wax is solid grease. Do you understand? The wax you made with your ability is actually paraffin wax. Galdino pinched the wax ball in his hand. After a while, the wax ball melted into a puddle of oil. Noah continued, "Paraffin is a wax, butter is also a wax, soap is also a wax, and various greases are actually a type of wax." He casually took out a row of reagent bottles from the card warehouse. These reagent bottles contained various waxes, including paraffin wax, montan wax, beeswax, insect wax, spermaceti wax, wool wax, wood wax, rice bran wax, coconut wax, butter, soap, cheese, etc. Galtino picked up a piece of butter and felt its physical structure. After a while, he turned the wax on his other hand into butter. Master Noah, it seems butter is nothing special? I can do it just like paraffin. Noah shook his head. Every substance has its own characteristics. There are rarely two substances with the same physical properties. Can paraffin be eaten? Butter can supplement nutrition, which paraffin cannot do. Galtino was thoughtful. He ate the butter on his hand and discovered the properties that the wax products did not have before. You can combine butter and cheese and adjust the proportions and ingredients to create a creamy wax that can be used as an emergency food, Noah suggests. In Noah's view, the wax fruit is the superior of the cheese fruit, butter fruit, and soap fruit. Although wax fruit cannot produce permanent wax products out of thin air, it can use the existing oils to carry out large-scale modification and manufacturing. For example, industrially produced paraffin oil can be used to make butter, cheese, soap, and beeswax, or vice versa. This kind of modified manufacturing is the key development direction of the wax fruit, a creative devil fruit. In addition to the development of these special wax products, Noah also pointed out some other development directions. Your application of the wax fruit is too superficial. As a devil fruit user, you should know that users with abilities will be restrained by seawater. Galdino nodded. I know this. But you don't know that the wax fruit is one of the few devil fruits that can allow users with abilities to enter seawater. What? Can I still go into the water? The wax coating is waterproof. You'll know after you try it. Galtino quickly smeared a layer of wax on himself, and then put his hand into the bucket of seawater. Sure enough, his hands were completely immersed in the seawater, but his body did not feel weak, which made him involuntarily excited. Great, I can swim in the sea again. Don't be too happy. The wax coating is indeed waterproof, but the wax coating is also fragile, which means that if you are in the sea and are attacked by sea monsters or enemies, you may be killed in one blow. Gulu! Gardino was startled, and the thought of the wax coating cracking in the sea made him shudder. And you haven't discovered another problem yet. The wax coating is just like putting a diving suit on you, but you are not a fisherman and cannot breathe normally in the sea. This problem must be solved. Lord Noah, you should have something to do, right? Galdino became more and more respectful to Noah. There are two ways. One is to carry a respirator and oxygen cylinder with you. The other is artificial fish gills. There was nothing difficult for Galdino to understand the first method, but the second method made him, who was already poor in knowledge, feel the IQ gap between people. Master Noah, where can I buy artificial fish gills? Noah looked like you were out of your mind. Have you eaten the wax fruit in vain? Don't you know how to make such a simple thing yourself? Galdino pointed to his face. I make it myself? Isn't this something difficult? Stupid. Don't you know how to catch a few fish and imitate their gill structures? Noah scolded, somewhat hating the iron. That seems okay. You are indeed Lord Noah. Galdino clapped his fist on the palm of his hand, looking like he suddenly understood. This situation is also a scene that Noah often encounters when he guides others to develop devil fruit abilities. In order to speed up the development of Galdino's abilities, Noah directly threw him into the sea for 2 hours every day, and then tied him with a rope to keep his wax coating and wax gills in the sea. At other times, Crow used the arm color to beat Galdino's body, letting him feel the arm color, and trying to stimulate his knowledge color. On the way to the White Mountain Kingdom, Gardino fully felt what pain and joy are. Of course, Noah also paid great attention to ideological education. Through words and deeds, Galdino realized the true face of the world. 1 month later, the Wonkai arrived at Yuzu Island in the White Mountain Kingdom. After disguising themselves, Noah and his party stopped at Yuzu Port on Yuzu Island and prepared to collect information about the kingdom. Inside a bar in the port, Noah and Galdino were drinking black tea and got some news from the bartender and a dozen guests. Chapter 60 Auction. Noah put down the teacup and picked up the hat on the side. We should go. The two left the bar. They just heard the news that an underground auction will be held on a deserted island not far from Pomelo Island. The auction is in 4 days. However, This kind of underground auction is by invitation only, and you can't get in without an introduction from an acquaintance. Galdino asked with some confusion. Mr. President, how do we get the invitation letter? Haha, you will know when the time comes. The two returned to the Wankai. That night, Noah and his team used the power of Piao Piao fruit to drive the Wankai and appeared over the desert island. Looking at the dim lights on the desert island, Noah released a small piece of Emperor Cumulus cloud covering the Wankai number, and then fixed it at a height of about 7,000 meters above the desert island. Galdino was very shocked by Noah's ability. He had seen Noah use cards to seal and release things before, and knew that Noah was a card fruit user, but he did not expect that Noah could control the Wankai number to float high in the sky. Brother Crow, isn't Master Noah a user with card fruit abilities? Could it be that card fruits can also make things float? Galdino asked curiously in a low voice. Crow raised his glasses and asked with a half-smile. About Mr. Noah's ability. This is a family secret. Are you sure you want to know more about it? I'm just curious. Pretend I didn't ask. Galdino smiled sarcastically and waved his hand quickly. Noah, who was standing on the deck with his eyes closed and listening quietly, was now seeing, hearing, and color combined with electromagnetic waves, scanning the desert island below in all directions. There are a total of 392 strong life forms, auras, and 125 relatively weak life forms, auras. There are 13 underground tunnels, an underground harbor, and 3 submarines. In the mountain on the north side of the desert island, there is a cave that can accommodate thousands of people. Many situations on the desert island were almost invisible to Noah's enhanced electromagnetic wave observation, and he even heard a lot of conversations. 10 minutes later, Noah opened his eyes. Brother, have you discovered anything? Ali asked curiously. Noah shook his head. There are more than 100 slaves imprisoned inside, and there is a devil fruit. In addition, the other party also mentioned a poisonous mushroom called paradise mushroom. In Ali's mind, he quickly thought of information about paradise mushrooms. Paradise mushrooms? Isn't this the raw material for making a happy paradise? It's normal. The underground auction of contraband is in line with their sewer rat style. Noah sneered and mocked. Brother, do you want to FK them? Although Noah's tone was calm, there was a hint of murderous intent. What do you think? Should we keep them for the new year? If we haven't encountered them, we can remain indifferent. Now that we have encountered them, there is no need to show mercy. I'll open the wormhole right away. Don't worry, when those guests arrive, we will entertain them well. Noah has no intention of letting go of the guests of the underground auction. After all, there is no harm if there is no buying and selling. 99.99% of the guys who can come and participate in the underground auction at Scum. Galdino was a little worried. Lord Noah, I heard that many underground auctions in South Blue are related to the local nobles of South Blue and the world government. Is it too risky for us to do this? Risk? Why don't you just kill everyone? Noah said a cold joke. Gardino was speechless. In the evening of the third day, with the last sailboat docked at the temporary dock on the desert island, this underground auction is finally about to begin. And on the deck of the Wankai above the desert island, Joshua, who had just come from the kingdom of Rum through the wormhole, had already turned on the electromagnetic shielding mode, rendering all phone bugs within a 10-kilometer radius of the desert island incapable of working. Let's go down and entertain these guests. Noah controlled the iron plate and dropped directly from midair with our Crow, Galdino, and more than 50 family elite members. After a few minutes, boom, the iron plate hit the door of the auction cave. A dozen men in black suits who were responsible for guarding the gate immediately picked up their weapons. Stop talking nonsense. If you come here with bad intentions, shoot immediately. Poof! Crow appeared in front of the gate in an instant. A dozen black suits behind him spurted blood from their throats, then fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and lost their breath. Ali shrugged, then opened the wormhole and took 5 elite members to the underground harbor on the desert island. Noah's body was surrounded by several iron sand chains, and the iron sand chains were inserted into the door in an instant. The door opens automatically under the influence of Piao Piao Fruit's ability. The group of people walked into the auction venue unimpeded. In the bustling venue, No one noticed a group of uninvited guests walking in, until Noah came to the auction stage in the middle of the venue. Crow cut the auctioneer's throat with a claw. "Ah, be bold. Who are these guys?" The scene was chaotic and shocked, mixed with screaming and yelling. "You scum, can you be quiet?" As soon as Noah finished speaking, a terrifying conqueror's domineering aura descended on everyone. As the person in charge of this underground auction, Kura Ao, who had just arrived at the venue from the monitoring room, instantly felt a terrible pressure on his face. Kurosawa's face changed drastically. Conqueror's domineering? The other guests were even more unbearable. They were all so pressed that they could not move. Some of the timid ones even urinated and excreted. Kurosawa suppressed the anger and fear in his heart and asked humbly, "My lord, I don't know what our auction has offended you. We are willing to apologize and compensate you. The Don Quixote family are still as rubbish and disgusting as ever." Noah mocked mercilessly. "What?" Kura Ao's expression became even more ugly. However, he knew from Noah's tone that the other party knew the Don Quixote family, so he could only bring out the background. "I admire your strength, but behind this auction is not just the Don Quixote family, but also what World Noble needs. I hope you can give us a face." "World Noble? Isn't it the Celestial Dragon?" Noah gave Crow a look. "Not good." Kurosawa's heart tightened. However, Crow's silent killing technique was even more terrifying. Kurosawa's limbs were cut off in an instant. By the time the pain was transmitted to his brain, Kurosawa, who had turned into a human stick, fell to the ground and wailed. "Ah, the young master will not let you go. Ah." The other guests were so frightened that their faces turned pale, and many people began to panic and run towards several passages. It's a pity that a large amount of iron sand blocked all the entrances and exits in the next second. After discovering that the escape route was blocked, these people turned ugly. "Oh, let me go. Do you know who my dad is? Please let me go. I am willing to give you all my money. Help. Oh, I want to go home. Go to hell." Poof! Crow cut off the hands of a gang leader who was about to shoot. This bloody scene made these nobles, big businessmen, and gang leaders even more frightened. "It turns out that you are also afraid and bleeding. I thought you were no longer human." Noah joked with a smile. An old aristocratic man who was extremely frightened knelt down in front of Noah and said, "Sir, please let me go. I was tricked into participating in the auction. I am a good person." The smile at the corner of Noah's mouth became brighter. "Dino, make a wax figure for our good man." Galdino poured out a large amount of wax liquid from his hands, and then wrapped it around the aristocratic old man. The wax liquid quickly solidified, turning him into a wax statue, but leaving his mouth and nose to breathe. However, before the aristocratic old man had time to rejoice, he discovered that the temperature of his body was rising rapidly. 10 minutes later, the aristocratic old man was roasted alive. Chapter 61: The Storm is rising. Other auction participants, facing the tragic death of the aristocratic old man, felt a chill coming to their hearts. Without any wavering or pity, Noah turned around and walked towards the temporary storage room on the side of the auction table. But Galdino, Crow, and others immediately understood what Noah meant. The merciless killing turned the entire auction house into Shura purgatory. "Open the storage room door." Several men in black suits who were responsible for guarding inside had fallen into a pool of blood. 5 elite members of the family conduct a preliminary screening and registration of the slaves held here, and then submit these slaves to the inspection department for review. Although there are ordinary people and children among these slaves, there are also extremely vicious villains. He will not allow villains to mix into the family. For example, the reason why Crow, Galdanoa, and others were absorbed is that they are both in the minor evil stage. Crow only lived in his hometown for a while. If Galtino kills pirates as a bounty hunter, that can't be called evil. If it were Crow who became the captain of the Black Cat Pirates and Galdino who joined Baroque Studio, then Noah would never absorb the two of them and would even kill each other directly. This is Noah's principle and bottom line. No matter who becomes a pirate for any reason and thinks he is a pirate, he will not show mercy. After all, being wanted by the world government does not necessarily mean becoming a pirate. You can also become a resistance force or a revolutionary army. This is not a reason to become a pirate. In Noah's view, those who become pirates after being persecuted by the world government are transforming the world government's persecution into their own persecution of ordinary people. A truly strong man must have the courage to wield his sword at the stronger ones. Those pirates who wield their swords at ordinary people are just the scum of the sea. Noah skipped the room where the slaves were kept and came to the room where the auction items were stored. In the first room, there are a large number of guns and ammunition. There are about 2,000 guns and about 2 million rounds of ammunition. They're stored away with cards. In the second room, there are freezers filled with tens of thousands of paradise mushrooms. Paradise mushroom? Although Noah hates drugs, he knows that things have good and bad qualities. This thing can actually be used as a raw material for some special drugs. After he put it away, he planned to take it back to Andy for research. In the third room, there are some antiques and jewelry, which are put away casually. The fourth room, this room seems very empty. There are 6 boxes inside, including a high-quality fighting knife, a box of 50 rounds of sea stone bullets, an animal devil fruit in the form of a red spider, and 3 bottles of a forbidden drug called black blood, medicine, a swordsman's manual called Fei Lu Swordsmanship, and a treasure map to an island in the Lost Sea. These items are already the best items in this auction. Picking up the reagent bottle, Noah looked at the black blood forbidden drug inside. He had also heard about this stuff. It was produced in the Chittua Kingdom in South Blue. It is a forbidden drug that can make people immune to all poisons in a short period of time. It has side effects. Just taking 1 serving of black blood will consume 5 years of life. Good swords and swordsman's manuscripts are of little value. Sea stone bullets are some value. This red spider fruit is pretty good. After all, it is an insect-type animal and has better potential. As for the last treasure map, Noah was a little interested. The Lost Sea is in South Blue, an area close to the Antarctic ice cap. According to local legends in South Blue, the Lost Sea was once a very prosperous area. About 630 years ago, an unknown disaster occurred that caused climate change in this sea area. Very unusual. Although the Lost Sea is not on the previously planned route, it is very close to the planned route. As long as one of the nodes on the route is slightly changed, you can drop by. When Noah sorted out the auction items, Ali also wiped out more than 50 minutes.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.